Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Thursday, February 26th, 2026, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, Cash App, $ ORION NWSF, or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got some spring training baseball, game number 7, and I guess this is the perfect game to start off the spring training season because we are going to be playing in 1 month versus this Cleveland Guardian team in Seattle. So I can't wait to be able to see what we get in this particular matchup. And we got about 70% of the normal starting lineup. So I figured this would be a good one to go after. We got the Cleveland Guardians versus the Seattle Mariners. First pitch will be here in roughly 5 minutes, and it'll give us a preview on the very first game of the regular season where we face the Guardians, even though the lineups will be slightly different. Let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Welcome back to baseball season, everyone. On the thumb, on the left, players in the game, Jose Ramirez, and on the right, the best catcher in Major League Baseball, the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's get it, baby. Let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Cleveland Guardians. Leading off for the Guardians in center field, Angel Martinez. Batting second, playing right field, George Valera. Batting third, catching today for Cleveland, David Fry. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, first baseman, Kyle Manzardo. Batting fifth, playing left field, Nolan Jones. Batting sixth, DHing today for the Guardians, Jonathan Rodriguez. Batting seventh, playing second base, prospect Juan Brito. Batting eighth, playing third base, Carter Kieboom. And batting ninth at shortstop, Angel Hanao. And on the mound for the Guardians, Joey Cantillo. And now let's get into the starting lineup for your Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at third base, newly acquired from the Cardinals, Brandon Donovan. And he has played well, 2 for 2, obviously in his last game where he got to play. This should be our leadoff hitter for the 2026 season. Batting second, the best catcher in the game, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting third, center fielder, the best in the game, Julio Rodriguez. And hopefully he'll be able to start off faster this year. Could be an MVP candidate with the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. Batting fifth, DHing for Seattle, Luke Raley. Batting sixth, playing right field, Dominic Canzone. Batting seventh, playing first base, Connor Joe. Batting eighth with already a home run in spring training, second baseman, prospect Michael Arroyo. And batting ninth, playing shortstop, Colt Emerson, another individual that should have a monster season for the Seattle Mariners. And even though we don't have some of the everyday starters, in the lineup, sometimes they will get plugged into the lineup, to kind of fill in. And obviously, some days are going to be a little bit stronger. Like this is probably about 70% of our starting lineup, obviously with JP with a minor injury and no Josh Naylor. But for the most part, this is about 70 to 75% complete besides Joe and Arroyo. So again, this will kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be looking at. And again, once you end up adding those key pieces like JP as well as Josh Naylor to the lineup, it definitely makes it very exciting. And you have to feel, between the Dodgers who won the World Series, the Blue Jays, and the Mariners, those are probably the 3 teams that are the most excited coming into the year, based on what happened at the end of last year. And we're getting ready to get settled in and get started here. We're going to be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. And not every game is broadcasted, through the Mariners here in our 50th anniversary season. They're going to be doing about half on spring training. This is on MLB, the app, for free. So again, yesterday's game against the White Sox with Brian Wu on the mound was not televised. Today is. And we got obviously Bryce Miller on the mound. It's Miller time. So if you want to be able to watch along, open up the MLB app, or if you don't have it downloaded, download it on your iPhone or your Android. And then you'll be able to watch quite a few of the games each day, not every single one. And about half of the spring training games have been televised. Right now, this is game 7. We're 2-3-1. We've been hitting the ball really, really well. Really kind of the piece of the team that's been a little suspect has been the pitching, but you're not having the starters, go the full 6-7 innings like normal. Usually about maybe 4 innings or so, maybe even a little bit less. And then we kind of go from there.
Downs of home ownership. The AC is struggling. And without coverage, a fix could cost up to $6,000.
Got to have Bryce healthy all year long. Absolutely. Bryce Miller warming up. And on the mound for the Seattle Mariners, getting a chance to show what he can do with Cal Raleigh under catcher. It's Miller time. Bryce Miller. Leading off in the box will be center fielder Angel Martinez. Batting second this inning, right fielder George Valera. And batting third, catcher today, David Fry. It feels good to get back into, baseball mode. As soon as the baseball season ended, I was already itching to kind of get going. And obviously, we didn't really have a whole lot to do in February besides the NBA. So we do have the World Baseball Classic next week, which will be great. So we'll be able to do some of those Team USA games. Looking forward to those. And then we'll do some spring training baseball for the Mariners as long as those games are televised. And then if we have to sprinkle in a little bit of NBA until we get to the end of March, where we play the Guardians on March 26th at home. Can't wait for that. All right, go. Riz on the mic. First pitch there. And that is ball 1 with the 4-seam fastball there for Bryce Miller. A little bit outside. 96 miles an hour. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. And hit hard down that right field line. And Angel Martinez rounding first, getting into second, safe. Nice hit there by Angel Martinez to get it started. Next up is right fielder George Valera. Hopefully Bryce will be able to pitch a little bit better than some of the other starters. We've been able to see a little bit of Kirby and Gilbert and Wu, and now we're at Bryce Miller, and we want to make sure our starting pitching staff will be healthy this year. Top of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Guardians and the Mariners. Miller on the mound, Valera in the box. First pitch by Miller to Valera. Knuckle curve, and that is popped up and out of play. 0-1 count. Miller on the mound, Valera in the box. Angel Martinez at second with the double to start off the game. 0-1 pitch. Takes a knuckle curve, strike looking, 83 miles an hour right there in the zone. Pretty by Bryce Miller. No balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second and no outs. 0-0 here early between the Guardians and the Mariners. Takes a look at the runner there with Angel Martinez. They're trying to keep him honest at second. He decides to scamper back. Oh-2 pitch in play. And looks like we got someone there, and it popped up, and that is out number 1. Nice job there by Michael Arroyo. And Connor Joe, I see you. 1 away. Next up is going to be catcher for the Guardians in the 3-hole, David Fry. Let's go, Bryce. Runner goes. Cal throwing to third. And got him. What a throw there by Cal Raleigh. See you later. Martinez caught stealing third. Beautiful throw by Cal Raleigh. Don't you dare run on us. There we go, baby. Cal, the Donovan. Donovan with the nice tag. And we end up getting the runner. Beautiful. Obviously, we know that Fry took that strike looking with the sweeper with a 0-1 count. Beautiful throw there by Cal Raleigh. A 1 pitch. Hit behind the plate. No balls and 2 strikes here early to David Fry. Top of the first inning, nobody on with 2 outs, 0-0, Guardians and Mariners. And again, this will be our opponent for the regular season debut 1 month from today. They're in Seattle. I figured this would be a good time to be able to do some more extensive scouting since I have been watching pretty much every game. And this is probably the most excitement we've seen in quite some time going in from the last game of the regular season and then obviously going into the postseason to where we're at here today. 0-2 pitch fouled off there by Fry. 0-2 to Fry. Fry connects deep into right field. And it ends up dropping in. And a nice hit there. Let's see if he ends up sliding into second. He does. Safe. And a beautiful double there by David Fry. Next up for the Guardians, first baseman today, cleanup hitter Kyle Manzardo. Come on, Bryce. And again, we have seen, Gilbert and Kirby and Wu and Miller look on and off. I mean, it is spring training, but it definitely want to work out some of the kinks, with about a month, before the regular season starts. And obviously, if we don't have major injuries to 4 out of our 5 starters, we might be able to make our, deep push and make it to the World Series this year, which is something that we're really looking forward to. One 0 pitch to Manzardo. Takes a strike there looking. 1 ball and 1 strike from Miller to Manzardo. Knuckle curve on the first and a slider there in the second in the zone. 1-1 pitch in play. Going deep all the way back to the warning track. Julio is there, and it is caught for out number 3. There we go. Nice job there by Julio Rodriguez. And we'll get a chance to be able to see some of the main starters for at least 3 to 4 innings. Let's go. We can always count on the best center fielder in the game, Julio Rodriguez, to do the job offensively and defensively. Nice job there by J-Rod. Nice to be able to have the best center fielder in the game and the best catcher in the game. Now we just need to be able to get everyone else acclimated with their roles moving forward here this season. Let's go to the bottom of the first inning. Leading off for the Mariners, newly acquired there from the Cardinals in the big trade, third baseman Brendan Donovan, who's 2 for 2 in spring training, looking pretty good so far as the year is going on. Batting second, the best catcher in the game, big dumper Cal Raleigh, and batting third, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. And then we would have to assume when Naylor is normally in the lineup, he'll be batting fourth, and they'll be moving Randy and a few of the other individuals like Victor Robles lower in the lineup. But again, it should be a very stout lineup 1 through 9, one of the best in MLB overall. And I'm definitely excited to be able to see Donovan and Raleigh and Julio and Naylor and Randy and, Rayleigh and Canzone and all the rest, Colt Emerson and Cole Young and JP to all kind of connect together. And again, we were 8 outs away from making the World Series last season. Obviously, we know the Blue Jays lost in Game 7. They were heartbroken just like us. We know that the Dodgers, are going to be the favored team, as long as they have multiple Hall of Famers, with Mookie and Freddie and Shohei, and then obviously getting, some amazing pitching, added on to that staff year in and year out. But again, you have to think, at the moment, not only are the Dodgers excited to try to three-peat, but again, they are, knowing that the American League is getting closer with the Blue Jays and the Mariners, and you have to assume the Yankees and a few other teams will be in line as well. Age in the building, what's good? I've been contemplating, doing spring training, but again, I kind of was getting a little tired of doing the NBA since that was the only thing that we could do. Since the NHL was off and we had the Olympics. So I figured this would be a good chance as long as it's televised. Let's go after it. First pitch is high and inside to Donovan. Good eye. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Fouls that one off behind the plate with a four-seam fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike from Cantillo to Brendan Donovan. Plus, it's good to be able to kind of get back into the mix of things since we are going to be doing 161 out of the 162 games during the regular season. The only one I'm going to miss is probably the one game that I go to, and I haven't decided which one just yet. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. Four-seam fastball there by Cantillo. Bottom of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Guardians and the Mariners. And this is a televised broadcast on the MLB app. So if you want to watch along, half of the spring training games are televised as that one is fouled off, out of play towards right field. But I'm going to try to do a few of these. And this is the opponent that we are playing, obviously, 1 month from today at home in Seattle, the Cleveland Guardians. So I figured this would be a good time to scout and kind of, take a quick look on how everyone's doing. I've been watching every game up to this point, all 6, and this is probably the most excited I've been going into a regular season, maybe ever. 2-2 pitch, and that one is fouled off towards the third base line. Nice curveball there by Cantillo. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no out. 0-0 here early between the Guardians and the Mariners. And like I said, I have been contemplating doing some of the other previous 6 games. But again, I figured this would be a good one to start since I have been watching them all. Popped up. And Nolan Jones comes up with the grab late as 3 defenders close in. And that is out number 1. But I do love Brendan Donovan. And again, I'm going to, miss Jorge Polanco and Eugenio Suarez. But I really do believe that this will be someone that will be just as good as both of those guys combined. Brendan Donovan can do it offensively, defensively. He can play multiple positions. Shortstop, second, third. So this will be exciting to see where the team goes. Next up, the best catcher in baseball, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. First pitch, Cal rakes it down that third base line. Go, baby, go. Get that double. And here we go all the way back to the wall. And the big dumper with a double to get the bases loaded. Started off here early. Oh, baby, let's go. Nice job there by Big Dumper. Batting from the right-hand side there on Cantillo. Rips it towards that third base line. And again, we have been able to score runs. We've had, good numbers with bases loaded. We've hit some home runs. Pitching has been a little iffy, but a nice job there by Cal Raleigh. Next up is going to be Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. It's pretty rare to be able to have 2 of the best, on the same team. Best catcher and best center fielder. But again, we have a bright future, not only with Cal and Julio, but with Donovan and Naylor, Arosarena, and company. First pitch is inside. Four-seam fastball to Julio, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Change up, big swing and a miss. Nice pitch there by Cantillo. 1 ball and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. Cantillo on the mound. Julio Rodriguez in the box. 1-1 pitch. Low and into the dirt with that changeup. Good eye by Julio. And we just need Julio to get off to a faster start. And if he's able to do that, that'll be the first time in his career. And he could definitely get 40 home runs and 40 stolen bags, maybe even 50-50 before his career is over. He's got the talent. He's much better than a 20 to 35, home run hitter. It's just about getting hot in the first half of the season. And we know he's going to get hot in the second half. Pitch is fouled off. Nice curveball there by Cantillo. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second, Cal Raleigh, and 1 out. 0-0 here early between the Guardians and the Mariners. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. 2-2 pitch. Crushes that one right down the middle, and it fades towards right field. Foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner at second, Cal Raleigh, with 1 out. 0-0 here early between the Guardians and the Mariners. Let's go, J-Rod. 2-2 pitch. And pitches inside with that 4-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour. Good eye by Julio, which we didn't really say too much of in spring training or the first half of the season last year or the year before. But again, you can mature, and hopefully he'll have better discipline at the plate, which we assume he will. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with Cal at second with 1 out. Let's go, Julio. Oh, here we go. Ball is in play. Julio, go, baby, go. And crushes it towards that left field line, down that third baseline where Cal hit it. Cal rounding third, coming home, and a beautiful RBI there by Julio Rodriguez. RBI double, 1-0 Mariners. Let's go. Great job there. Back-to-back doubles by Julio and Cal Raleigh. Let's get it. Great start, baby. Let's go. And next up, in the 4-hole, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. Now, obviously, we know he was a liability on defense, but hopefully it'll be a little bit better, obviously, this season. First pitch, takes a big swing and a miss on that curveball. 79 miles an hour there by Cantillo. 0-1 count. A 1 pitch, high and inside with a 4-seam fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. 1-1 pitch, 4-seam fastball, high and away. 91 miles an hour with that 4-seam fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike from Cantillo to Randy Arozarena. And Randy smacks one in play. All the way back to the wall, and it's dropped. Go, baby, go. And 3 doubles in a row. Julio Rodriguez rounding third, coming home, and we got a 2-0 lead. Let's go. A double by Cal Raleigh, a double by Julio, a double by Randy Arozarena. 2-0 Mariners. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, baby. And again, that's the type of baseball you want to see, with Randy in the lineup, with Julio and Cal. You got Donovan there. Really, the only people that we're missing, JP's got a minor injury, but the main guy that's missing is Naylor, and obviously played in yesterday's game. So, again, it feels good to be able to get off to a good start. Mariners have been able to score runs in this spring training, but the pitching has been a little shaky, and again, we're not having our starting pitchers go 6-7 innings. They're usually pitching about 3 or 4, and then you're bringing in a bunch of other bullpen guys and backups and farm system guys, and you're trying to evaluate. But at least we're going to be able to get the starters in for, half the game, and a great start here with Luke Raley up next. Let's go. And again, this is going to be the opponent that we play the very first game of the regular season 1 month from today in Seattle. That's why I'm here today, to be able to scout and to be able to see how we look with 1 month to go. First pitch to Luke Raley, slider, 82 miles an hour, takes a strike looking there from Cantillo. 0-1 count. Joey Cantillo on the mound. Luke Raley in the 5-hole DHing at the moment. And it is on MLB app. So if you want to be able to watch along, this game is televised. Yesterday's game against the White Sox was not. Pitch is fouled off towards that third base line with the slider. No balls and 2 strikes from Cantillo to Raley. And it's been a minute. We haven't done a baseball game since World Series Game 7 with the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. So by doing, 4, 5, 6 spring training games, it'll, get us back into the mix of getting ready for the regular season, which I'm going to try to do every game besides one, and that'll be the game that I go to. 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss by Luke Raley, and that is 2 away. Next up for the Mariners in right field in the 6th hole today, it is Dominic Canzone. 2-0 Mariners with the early lead. Looks like we're going to have a pitching change already. Looks like Cantillo's day is over. Back-to-back doubles by Cal Julio and Randy Arozarena. 2-0 Mariner lead. Looks like they're going to be bringing in Stanley. So let's see if we can end up finding a photo of him. All right, Hunter Stanley coming in. Two-0 here early in spring training game number 7. We're 2-3-1, 1-2 at home. Obviously, scoring runs hasn't been the problem. We've actually been one of the best hitting teams in spring training. It's just the pitching. We're not really doing a regular style pitching strategy. We're getting 6, 7, 8 guys, normally per night or per afternoon, a chance to see what they can do. But we have seen a little bit of Wu and Kirby and Gilbert and now Bryce Miller. So we have seen a little bit in the last few games of at least the starting pitcher that would be pitching during the regular season. But again, they're only pitching about half, of the game and then having someone else usually come in after that. So Stanley enters the matchup as Cantillo exits. And we have Dominic Canzone here in the box. Let's go, Dom. Randy Arozarena still at second base. First pitch is inside with the changeup, 78 miles an hour. And that is a 1-0 count. Stanley on the mound, Canzone in the box. One-0 pitch, Canzone crushes it towards right field. Big sliding grab. And that is caught, and that is out number 3. Nice job there by George Valera with that diving catch for Dominic Canzone. That's the end of the first inning, 2-0 Mariners. We love that. And if you're just tuning in to the broadcast, we had back-to-back doubles by Cal Raleigh, who scored Julio Rodriguez, and then Randy Arozarena scored Julio. And again, a nice 2-0 early lead. Leading off for the Guardians here in the top of the second inning, in the 5-hole, left fielder Nolan Jones. Batting second in the 6-hole, DHing today, Jonathan Rodriguez. And batting third, second baseman prospect for Cleveland, Juan Brito. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. And a brand new image for the 2026 season there for Cal. We'll be using that one pretty frequently. And again, I'll be trying to tap in and getting as many new images of some of the players that obviously are newly acquired, like Brendan Donovan, as well as getting maybe some new ones for Julio and Cal and some of our top guys as well. Top of the second inning, 2-0 Mariner lead. And again, half of the games are televised on the MLB app. This is one of them. So if you want to open up the MLB app, if you don't have it already, download it on the Play Store through your iPhone or your Android, and just click watch on the bottom, and then it'll go through the games that are available. And this is one of them. Let's see if Bryce Miller can continue his dominance, even though it was a little shaky in the first, but didn't give up a run. First pitch. Knuckle curve, 84 miles an hour, right there on the corner, but doesn't get the call. 1-0 count. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. You're just tuning into the game, back-to-back doubles to start off the game for Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, and Randy Arosarena, and that ends up being the 2-0 lead. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss. Nice slider there by Bryce Miller. It's Miller time, 86 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike to Nolan Jones. 1-1 pitch and a check swing by Nolan Jones. Did he go around? Yes, he did. Slider, 84 miles an hour, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Nolan Jones. Bryce Miller on the mound, Nolan Jones in the box. 1-2 pitch for Bryce Miller. Pitch is inside. Sinker, 97 miles an hour. High heat, just missing. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. 2-0 Mariner lead. And even though it's spring training, I enjoyed, doing these games more than a lot of the NBA or NHL games that are on at the moment. So, the time isn't really ideal. Big swing and a miss and a punch out for Bryce Miller. Obviously, if these games were on in the evening, it would be a little bit better, but most spring training games are on around noon. Down goes Nolan Jones, and that is 1 away. Nice job there by Bryce Miller. Way to bring that electricity. Next up is 6-hole hitter DHing today for Cleveland, Jonathan Rodriguez. Let's go, Bryce. First pitch from Miller to Rodriguez. Gets a foul tip. Goes towards that first base line. Foul. Sinker, 97 miles an hour there by Bryce Miller. If you're a diehard Mariner fan, again, spring training games in the past usually aren't that big of a deal, but when we're getting closer and closer to making our first World Series, I feel like this is the most excitement that we've had in the organization in these 50 years, that we've been around. These last 2 years have been very, very exciting, and I feel every year moving forward, especially with the next 4 or 5, with Naylor included, with Julio and Cal, with Brandon Donovan, should be exciting. Pitch is fouled off down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes to Jonathan Rodriguez. 0-2 pitch. High and inside. 4-seam fastball, 97 miles an hour. Missing the zone there by inches. Up high. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Rodriguez. 1-2 pitch. In play with the knuckle curve. And Rodriguez gets a nice single right up the middle. Rodriguez with the single. Julio ends up throwing it into play. And next up is second baseman, prospect, 7-hole hitter, Juan Brito. All right, time is called. Dan Wilson meeting up with Miller. And we'll see if Bryce's day is done. And they're going to try to get some of these other pitchers in the game. All right, Bryce's day is done, and we're going to get a new pitcher here momentarily. Let's see who they're going to be bringing in. Top of the second inning, 2-0 Mariners with a runner at first and one out. Juan Brito in the box. And we'll see who they decide to bring in for Bryce Miller here. All right, looks like Mendoza is coming in. Juan Brito taking some practice swings here in the box. Bottom of the second inning. 2-0 Mariner lead here in game number 7 in spring training. We're 2-3-1. Hitting the ball hasn't been a problem for the Mariners in spring training. It's just the pitching. And Mendoza comes in here for Bryce Miller. First pitch fouled off with the cutter, 87 miles an hour. Downs that right field line, 0-1 count. Mendoza on the mound for the Mariners. Brito for the Guardians. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle with a curveball, 79 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes to Juan Brito. 0-2 pitch, crushes that one towards that left field line and out of play, foul. Curveball, 78 miles an hour there by Mendoza. Top of the second inning, 2-0 Mariner lead with a runner at first and one out. Mendoza on the mound, Brito in the box. 0-2 pitch. And Brito fouls that one off towards that third base line and out of play. Changeup, 85 miles an hour there by Mendoza. Top of the second inning, 2-0 Seattle lead with back-to-back-to-back doubles to start off the game by Cal with a double, Julio with a double, and Randy with a double. And that makes the score a 2-0 lead for Seattle. 2-2 pitch, sinker inside, 92 miles an hour there by Mendoza. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Juan Brito. 1-2 pitch. And that looks like it's low and away with the changeup there, 86 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. Could really use a nice dribbler up the middle for a double play. See if we can get it here. 2-2 pitch, popped up. Cal Raleigh takes the mask off. And looks like he's got some room. And nice catch by Cal Raleigh. Great defense there by the big dumper. And that is 2 away. He's already thrown a runner out at third and made a great defensive play there. That's the best catcher in the game, big dumper Cal Raleigh. You know, he can do it offensively, he can do it defensively, and we know Aaron Judge's numbers were great last year, but Cal definitely was very deserving of the MVP award for the American League. Next up here for the Guardians, playing third base in the 8-hole, Carter Kieboom. First pitch from Mendoza to Kieboom, big swing and a miss with a slider, 81 miles an hour, low and away, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, check swing, and he does not go around. Curveball, 79 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike from Mendoza to Kieboom. Pitches outside with that sinker, 93 miles an hour by Mendoza. 3 balls and 1 strike from Mendoza to Keyboom. And this might be the first year that I've watched like every, spring training game just based off the excitement, what we had last year. Last year I watched, probably about half. But again, baseball can't come soon enough. We're 1 month away from the opening day against this very team, the Cleveland Guardians, in Seattle at home. 3-1 pitch, big swing and a miss with a cutter, high and away, 88 miles an hour. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 2 outs. 2-0 Mariner lead with back-to-back doubles by Raleigh, Rodriguez, and Arosarena. Now let's see what we can do here. 3-2 pitch, and that is strike 3 looking. See you later. Nice job there. And we leave one stranded. 2-0 Seattle. Let's go to the bottom of the second inning and see who's up next here for the Mariners. Leading off at first base, filling in for Josh Naylor today, Connor Joe. Batting second, playing second base today, has a home run in spring training already, who's looked very good, prospect Michael Arroyo. And batting third in the 9-hole, another prospect that could be starting for the Mariners sooner than later, playing shortstop today, Colt Emerson. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. 2-0 Mariner lead. Rodriguez with a double to left. Cal Raleigh scored, making it 1-0 in the first. And then Randy Arosarena with another double to center. Julio scored. Back-to-back doubles to start off a game. And even in spring training, that's a good thing to see. You want to be able to see, the main starters do well as some of the prospects towards the bottom of the lineup, like with Emerson and Arroyo. Because again, it's a very good possibility that we're going to see some of these guys that were normally farm guys, on the lineup at some point, like Colt Emerson, and especially a guy like Cade. Can't wait for Cade to be able to get his chance. He might have to wait for an injury to one of the starting 5. With Wu, Gilbert, Kirby, Miller, and Castillo. But obviously, Cade Anderson to me is better than Luis Castillo already. But again, we have to just wait and be patient. Cantillo back in. First pitch to Connor Joe. High and inside, there with the 4-seam fastball, 91 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Bottom of the second inning, 2-0 Mariner lead. 1-0 pitch, low and into the dirt. Curveball, 78 miles an hour there by Cantillo. 2 balls and no strikes to Connor Joe. Cantillo on the mound, Connor Joe in the box. Connor Joe, a little slow dribbler, and Connor Joe is safe at first. Great running effort there. And again, first baseman with Manzardo and company. And again, they didn't have anybody covering first. Pitcher couldn't get there in time, and we'll take that base hit. Nice job there by Connor Joe. Manzardo and the pitcher need to be a little bit on more of the same page. Next up is Michael Arroyo, who has already got a home run in spring training, looking very good. First pitch. Takes a strike looking low and away with a curveball, 78 miles an hour. 1-0 count. Cantillo on the mound, Michael Arroyo in the box. We got a Mariners challenge here. All right, so that gets challenged to go from a strike to a ball, call overturned. Nice job by Michael Arroyo with the challenge, with the ABS. 1-0 pitch, throw to first base to keep Connor Joe, somewhat honest over there. He is safe. Bottom of the second inning with a runner at first and no outs. 1-0 pitch, high and away. Good eye there by Michael Arroyo, the farm system prospect for the Mariners. 79-mile-an-hour changeup there by Cantillo missing. 2 balls and no strikes with a runner at first and no outs. 2-0 Mariner lead. Two-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking inside. 2 balls and 1 strike with a runner at first and no outs. 2-0 Mariner lead. Let's go, Arroyo. He's got the power. Jacob in the building. What's good? Pitch is high and away. 4-seam fastball. 3 balls and 1 strike to Michael Arroyo. 3-1 pitch. And that one is fouled off towards that right field line. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Cantillo to Arroyo. What's good, Jacob? How are you? Figured we're 1 month away from the regular season where we play you guys. And again, we're going to be playing the Guardians, the very first game in Seattle. So I figured this would be a good time to start doing some spring training games between now and then. And that pitch is low with the changeup, and that'll be a walk. And now we got runners at first and second. Michael Arroyo at first, Connor Joe at second, and one of my favorite prospects in the Seattle Mariners system, Colt Emerson. And this is a guy that could start for us. I feel, was better than Ben Williamson, who we traded away in the offseason. I think he's better than Cole Young. I feel like he is the best farm guy that we have besides Cade Anderson at pitcher, number 3 pick in the first round from LSU, and he'll eventually take over Luis Castillo's spot, but we're going to have to just be patient with him. First pitch is low and away with the slider, 1-0 count. Cantillo on the mound, Colt Emerson in the box. 1-0 pitch. Emerson crushes that one, goes towards that third base line, and out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike to Colt Emerson. Emerson in the box, and Joey Cantillo on the mound. One pitch, low and away and into the dirt. Curveball there. 80 miles an hour, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Colt Emerson. Let's go, Colt. See if we can get a good RBI here. We already got back-to-back doubles to start off the game by Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, and Randy Arozarena. Colt Emerson hit right up the middle, and everyone is safe. There we go. Bases loaded for the Mariners. Colt Emerson on an infield single to second, Arroyo to second, and Joe to third. Hell yeah. Here we go. And I feel that this is going to be one of the favorite players for the Seattle Mariners, just like Josh Naylor. The Cardinals stud who won Rookie of the Year and was an All-Star last year, Brendan Donovan. Now, we are going to miss Jorge Polanco and Eugenio Suarez, but I think Brendan Donovan will single-handedly make up for the loss of those 2 players. He is an absolute stud offensively and defensively. Should be our leadoff hitter moving forward for the team. First pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. Cantillo on the mound, Brendan Donovan in the box. And again, to be able to re-sign Josh Naylor and bring in Brendan Donovan with Julio and Cal, it's going to be a very special team this year. 0-1 pitch. And takes a little piece of that on the foul tip. No balls and 2 strikes to Brendan Donovan. Come on, Donovan. Let's go, Brendan. Obviously a great defender and a great hitter, very patient in the box. Should make a big difference for us, so that way we don't have to have Randy or Robles or JP leading off. We definitely have been needing, to figure out who's going to be the leadoff hitter, who's going to be our third baseman, and who are we going to have at DH on a regular basis. Still some questions to be answered, but we got quite a bit of depth. Pitch fouled off, low and away. 0-2 pitch. Low and away with the 4-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Brendan Donovan. Come on, Brendan. We got a great team. Again, if you really look at the roster top to bottom, you have to assume the Blue Jays and the Mariners should still be favored as two of the top dogs in the American League. And obviously, we assume the Yankees will be somewhat decent. Astros and the Rangers, you never can count them out. So it definitely will be interesting to see where it goes here. 1-2 pitch. And Donovan cracks it up the middle. Fielder's choice, but that's going to bring a runner home. Another RBI by Brandon Donovan. Connor Joe sliding in home, and it's 3-0 Mariners. I think the three teams that are the most excited are going to be the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, and the Mariners, since we were the last three teams left, in the playoffs last season. Obviously, we know the Blue Jays lost in Game 7 to the Dodgers, and again, we know the Dodgers are the Dodgers. It's going to be very hard to beat them, but it kind of feels like the American League is getting closer with the Blue Jays and the Mariners, and then there will be a few other teams, like I mentioned, with the Yankees, the Astros, the Rangers, and maybe even a few others, like this Guardian team could be in the mix as well. First pitch is low and inside to big dumper Cal Raleigh, 1-0 count. But it's nice to be able to say, we got the best center fielder in the game in Julio Rodriguez, the best catcher. We got Josh Naylor, signed with the team for 5 years, and then we traded for Brendan Donovan. This team could be better than last year's team, and we had a lot of injuries on the pitching staff. I definitely feel that we are going to be World Series contenders, and hopefully the injuries don't hit us as bad as they did last year. 1-1 pitch. Low and away. Good eye there by Cal. 2 balls and 1 strike to big dumper Cal Raleigh. Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously with Skubal, and they brought Verlander back, and, they're hitting. They're very young and up and coming as well. So, yeah, there's going to be a few teams, and again, you never really know what's going to be going on in that particular, league, where you got, the Twins and you got the Guardians and you got the Tigers. It's kind of hard to say who's going to be the top dog, but again, it should be very competitive like it has been in the last couple of years in the American League, and I'm definitely excited. Takes a strike looking with the curveball. 2 balls and 2 strikes to big dumper Cal Raleigh. 3-0 Mariner lead here in the bottom of the second inning. 2-2 pitch. Cal crushes it towards that left field line, and he ended up getting a big double to start off the game. And we had back-to-back doubles by Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, and Randy Arosarena, and we had an early 2-0 lead. And again, we're starting to pour it on here. Hit deeply, center field, and caught. Sac fly for Cal Raleigh. Runner comes home, and here we go. 4-0 Mariners. Nice job by Michael Arroyo coming home, and Cal Raleigh with the sac fly. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. Let's bring that electricity. J-Rod. Now, I saw that, Framber Valdez ended up leaving, but after he waved off the catcher and hit him intentionally, I don't think that's a player that you want on the roster anyways. So, again, we will definitely see how things progress, but I'm not counting out, the Astros or the Rangers, and I'm always up for a battle with the Angels and the Athletics within the division. We'll see kind of how it plays out, but, this is our 50th season. We're getting very close, to making our very first World Series ever. The only team that hasn't been. And again, I do believe in the next, 10 to 15 years, we should have a good chance to make it once or twice. And hopefully we'll be able to make it this year. But again, we have to stay injury free. We're going to have to be buyers at the deadline again. And hopefully, 4 out of the 5 starters don't get banged up. The only starter that didn't get banged up last year was Luis Castillo. But, Kirby was hurt for the first few months of the year. And then Miller was banged up and he wasn't looking good. And then obviously with Wu late, that hurt our chances of beating the Blue Jays. If he was healthy, I think we win. And then obviously with Logan Gilbert, obviously was good for the first, month or so, had an injury, really wasn't him, his normal self after that. So if we can end up getting, a majority of those guys injury free, or if one of them gets hurt, like let's say Castillo, and then we're able to bring up Cade Anderson, the first round pick, number 3 overall, the phenom from LSU, who ended up winning the, natty for, obviously the Tigers in college baseball. That's a guy that's going to be in the starting lineup, but we don't have a lefty. So I'm really looking forward to having Cade replace Luis Castillo at some point, and then we can end up having Brian Wu, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, and Cade Anderson. And even Bryce is a guy that I like, but we could get someone maybe potentially better one day, but we have to take it, one step at a time. So bottom of the second inning, runner at first with 2 outs, 4-0 Mariner lead. And we haven't had a problem hitting. It's been pitching, has been the issue. But again, they're not, keeping the starters all through 6-7 innings. They're usually pitching 2 to 4 innings, and you're going through like 10 pitchers. So some guys are farm guys. Some guys are, bullpen guys. And obviously those guys aren't going to be as good as Wu, Gilbert, Kirby, Castillo, or Miller, more times than not. But so far it's looking really good here. 4-0 Mariner lead. First pitch to Julio Rodriguez, high and away, 1-0 count. Plus, I've been itching to do a baseball game. I mean, the time isn't great, being on at noon, but it definitely is better than doing an NBA game or an NHL game at the moment. And we got the World Baseball Classic next week, so I'll be doing some Team USA, maybe even some Dominican Republic games with Julio and a few of the other amazing all-stars that are representing the Dominican Republic. And then we have the first game on Netflix. I believe it's the Giants and Yankees, I believe, on the 25th of March. And then we have our opener 1 month from today, March 26th, at home versus this Guardian team. Takes a strike, swinging high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. Stanley on the mound, Rodriguez in the box. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 4-seam fastball missing, 93 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. I think Julio, if he starts off fast, he could be in the running for the MVP. At some point, he's going to hit 40-40 or 50-50. He just needs to be able to get off and get going in the first half of the season, which he hasn't been able to do so far in his career. 3-1 pitch, and takes the walk. And that's the patience that I love seeing. There we go. Julio to first. Nice job by Julio today. Nice job by Cal Raleigh today. And a great job by Randy Arozarena. 1 for 1 with a double and an RBI. We know his defense in left field is a liability, but hopefully it'll be slightly better this year. And not every spring training game is televised. About half of them for the Mariners. So I'm going to start doing them, once the, ones are televised. I would rather do that than, do an NBA or an NHL game at the moment. So just kind of depends on which one's MLB app is going to show. Big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss again with the slider high and inside. 85 miles an hour there by Stanley. No balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. And again, if you love baseball as much as I do, you're just waiting. Even though it's spring training, it's like I'm more invested in spring training baseball than anything I'm really seeing NBA or NHL wise at the moment. But I do think the World Baseball Classic will be fun. And then we're 1 month away from the regular season. And when that starts, we'll be doing Mariner baseball every day. And I'm looking forward to doing every game except for maybe one, the one game I actually go to in Seattle. And hopefully I'll be able to go to like a bobblehead game and get another foul ball. 0-2 pitch, and that's fouled off towards that first baseline. No balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Bottom of the second inning, 4-0 Mariners. It's MLB app. Yeah, so the Root Sports doesn't have the Mariners anymore. So if you download the MLB app, which is free, Broken Bat by Randy, and that one is popped up and caught, and that is out number 3. So MLB app, you just go to your Play Store through your iPhone or Android, download the MLB app, and then it gives you scores, and then you can, highlight Mariners as your favorite team. And then on the bottom, it'll have an option that says watch. You click on that, and then it'll show you the games that you can actually watch on there. And there's going to be about half of the spring training games for the Mariners. I've watched every game that's been televised so far, which has been a majority of the 6 games. This is game number 7. And I think 4 out of the 7 have been televised or something of that nature. So, and then once we get closer to the regular season, if you do have cable through like Xfinity, there might be a channel that you'll be able to watch, but they haven't announced it just yet. And then obviously they have a package on the MLB app that you can pay $99.99 for a full season, or $20 a month. And then at that point, if you don't have cable or satellite to go off of, then that will be how you end up watching Mariner games this particular season. Now, I know T-Mobile ends up giving you the MLB, extra innings package for free if you have T-Mobile, usually before the season starts. But in the past, it would black out the Mariner games, and I don't know if that will be the case again, but I assume, if you have cable, you might be able to watch it through Xfinity, once they announce, a channel and what it's going to be called. But a majority of people that are going to be watching the Mariners this year, since Root Sports no longer exists for the Mariners, the contract ended, that you'll have to watch it through the MLB app, which will mean that you'll be paying $20 a month, to go that route, $99.99 for the full season. Going through a streaming link where you might be 30 seconds behind, which would be free. But, it kind of just depends on your budget and, how you want to be able to follow the team. And I'll always give updates on channels and what's going on based on what I read through them. Criswell on the mound here for the Mariners in the top of the 3rd. And in the 9-hole, Angel Henao, shortstop prospect here. Cooper Criswell on the mic, or on the mound, excuse me. And it's great to be able to have Riz on the mic in most of these broadcasts. Riz last season before he retires, so we definitely want to win it for him. 0-1 pitch for Cooper Criswell. Another strike looking too. And no balls and 2 strikes in the top of the 3rd, 4-0 Mariner lead. Oh, 2 pitch. Got a piece of the bat there, and that one ends up going foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. 4-0 Mariner lead. Little dribbler. Throw to first. Got him. There we go. Great defense there by the Mariners. Nice job by Connor Joe stretching out and getting that ball for Michael Arroyo. 1 away. Next up here, leading off for the Guardians, center fielder, 1-for-1, Angel Martinez. First pitch from Cooper Criswell, takes a strike looking to Angel Martinez, 0-1 count. But that's how it's going to go down for the Mariners. I wish it was still on Root Sports. A majority of the people that were in the pre-show and the post-show are still with the Seattle Mariners. But again, since it's going to be through the Mariners TV or Mariners, application, more information will be released as we get closer to the regular season. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, high and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Angel Martinez. 0-2 pitch, high and away with a cutter, good eye by Martinez. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Criswell to Martinez. Top of the 3rd inning, nobody on with 1 out, 4-0 Mariner lead. But hopefully that makes a little bit of sense on what I mentioned there to you, age clips. 1-2 pitch, high and inside with a sinker at 91 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Angel Martinez. 3-2 pitch, and missing it low and away. And that's going to be a walk for Criswell. Angel Martinez to first. 2-for-2 day for Angel Martinez. And next up will be right fielder George Valera. First pitch, Criswell, Valera, slow dribbler up the middle, and it just can't be caught there by Colt Emerson. Nice diving attempt, though. Very close. And now we got runners at first and second with one out. He dove for it, but just extended fully and just went right in front of him by about a foot or two. So we got Martinez at second, and we got Valera at first. Next up is going to be catcher David Fry. And hopefully we can get a slow dribbler up the middle for a double play and end this inning. And they're Mariners TV. Obviously $20 a month or $99.99, but you don't have to pay any of that to watch these spring training games. You'll get about half of them, and it will be free on the MLB app. First pitch fouled off behind the plate, 0-1 count. Criswell on the mound, Fry in the box. Oh, 1 pitch. Big swing and a miss with the changeup there by David Fry. No balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 1 out. 4-0 Mariner lead. Rodriguez with a double to left. Cal scored in the first. Arosarena with a double to left. Rodriguez scored 2-0. And then obviously Donovan grounded out to a fielder's choice, making it 3-0. And then Raleigh with a sac fly with Arroyo scoring last inning, making it 4-0. 0-2 pitch, high and away with the cutter. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Criswell to Fry. 1-2 pitch, high and inside with the cutter again, 87 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes to David Fry. Two-two pitch, fouled off towards that third base line, foul. David Fry in the box, Cooper Criswell on the mound for the Mariners. And again, you have to assume the pitching after, Bryce is going to be a little shaky, but hopefully we'll be able to extend the lead. Nice diving grab by Colt Emerson. There we go. Double play. Let's go. And again, this is going to be a guy that could be in the starting lineup for the Mariners sooner than later. Better than Ben Williamson, better than Cole Young, a guy that can be a better hitter and just as good of a defender as Ben Williamson. We traded him off, in the offseason. Nice double play by Colt Emerson. Great job leaving those runners stranded. 4-0 Mariner lead. Let's go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Let's go to the bottom of the third inning with a Mariner 4-0 lead. I love seeing that. This will be our opponent for our season opener 1 month from today. So that's why we're here, to be able to scout and to get ready for the regular season. See how the OGs look, see how the new guys look, and see how the farm guys look. And so far, it's looking pretty damn good. Leading off for the Mariners, 0-for-1 with a K in the 5-hole. DHing for Seattle, Luke Raley. Batting second in the 6-hole, right fielder, 0-for-1, Dominic Canzone. And batting third, filling in for Josh Naylor today, first baseman Connor Joe. And this lineup is about 70% of the regular lineup, besides Connor Joe and Michael Arroyo. Those are really the only two that wouldn't be starting. Obviously, you would have J.P. Crawford with a minor injury would be in there with Josh Naylor at first. But it gives you kind of an idea on what the lineup could look like. Donovan leading off, Cal at 2, Julio at 3, and then probably Josh Naylor at 4, Randy at 5, And then, Luke at 6, Dominic Canzone at 7, and then, maybe, JP Crawford at 8 and Robles at 9 or vice versa, something of that nature. But we could end up seeing Colt Emerson in the starting lineup at some point. And I would definitely want to see Cade Anderson, the phenom pitcher from LSU. I feel like Cade Anderson and Colt Emerson will be the two biggest helpers to the Mariners, other than guys that we brought in like Brendan Donovan, who will be starting day one and being our leadoff hitter. Yeah, we're rotating a lot of pitchers. Every spring training game, you're only getting your starting pitcher, which was Bryce Miller today, typically pitching only 2 to 4 innings, and then we're throwing in backups, farm guys, bullpen guys, just to kind of see how they look. Now we got Matt Festa in there. Or Matt Festa is in the game right now against Luke Raley. 1-0 pitch, and Raley hits it in between the gap, all the way to the wall. Run, Raley, run! And he is safe. A big double by Luke Raley. And we've had quite a few doubles here today. A double by Cal Raleigh in the first inning. A double by Julio in the first inning. A double by Randy in the first inning. And now a double in the bottom of the third by Luke Raley. Let's go. Next up, right fielder Dominic Canzone. Could he get a double to make it 5-0? Let's go, baby. And I get it, it's spring training, but again, to me, this is more exciting than any NHL regular season game or NBA regular season game. So, as long as they're going to televise half of these, I'm going to try to do as many as I can, as well as the World Baseball Classic. And once we do, a combination of those two things, eventually we'll be 1 month from today, and we'll be playing the same Guardian team at the season opener in Seattle. First pitch from Festa to Canzone. Big swing and a miss. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch popped up. Key boom is there in foul territory, and that is 1 away. And it's really, we want to watch the pitchers, to be able to see what they can do. But normally, if we got Brian Wu, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, Luis Castillo, and eventually Cade Anderson one day, normally those guys are going to be pitching 6 to 7 innings. But in spring training, it's usually only 2 to 4. So you're not really getting the full aspect pitching-wise. But hitting-wise, you get the players playing about starters half the game, and then you get some of the other rotational guys in there as well. First pitch by Festa to Connor Joe. Filling in for Josh Naylor today. Takes a strike looking high and inside. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Joe over the pitcher's head. Throw to first. And that is 2 away. Good play there by Brito. And runner advances to third base, Luke Raley. We got a runner at third with 2 outs with a 4-0 lead. Next up is Michael Arroyo, farm system guy like Colt Emerson. And Arroyo has already hit a home run in spring training, a few games back, looking very good here early. First pitch, low and away with the 4-seam fastball, 92 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Bottom of the third inning, 4-0 Mariner lead with a runner at third and 2 outs. Plus you want to be able to get a few spring training games in, to kind of get your rhythm back, since the last game I called was World Series Game 7 for baseball. And obviously I've done NFL, college football, NBA, and, WWE since then, but it's been a few months and it's nice to kind of get back into the grind. 2-0 pitch, high and inside with the sweeper there by Festa. 3 balls and no strikes to Michael Arroyo. Come on, Michael. And again, this is free on the MLB app if you want to watch along. Not every Mariner game will be televised in spring training, but about half of them are. And yesterday's game was not against the White Sox, but obviously since I noticed this one was televised today, figured this would be a good time to start. Tomorrow's game is not televised, unfortunately, but they will have some as we go into the weekend and Monday, and we'll try to be able to get some of those in. 3-0 pitch, takes a strike looking at the knees. 3 balls and 1 strike to Michael Arroyo. 3-1 pitch, big swing and a miss with that sweeper by Festa. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at third and 2 outs. Let's go, Arroyo. And it's possible that we see Arroyo get called up at some point during the season, either this year or next year. Big swing and a miss. And down goes Arroyo, and that's going to be the end of the third inning. We leave one runner stranded there at third. Let's go to the top of the fourth inning with the Mariners with a 4-0 lead. Let's go. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Leading off for the Guardians here in the top of the fourth inning, 0 for 1. First baseman Kyle Manzardo. Batting second in the 5-hole, left fielder 0 for 1 with a K, Nolan Jones. And batting third, 1 for 1 in the 6-hole, DHing Jonathan Rodriguez. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. And we started off the game on a very hot note. Back-to-back doubles by Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, and Randy Arozarena, making it early a 2-0 lead. Then in the bottom of the second inning, Brendan Donovan grounded into a fielder's choice. Connor Joe scores, making it 3-0. And then Cal Raleigh with a sac fly in that same inning, Michael Arroyo scoring and making it a 4-0 lead. So hitting really hasn't been the problem in spring training for the Mariners. Normally it's been after the starting pitcher has gone out, things got a little nasty, in a majority of the games. We're 2-3-1, obviously with a tie yesterday. And again, when we go into the regular season, it's going to look a lot different. We're going to have Wu, Gilbert, Kirby, Miller, and Castillo. We assume we'll try to go 6, 7, 8 innings, and then we're going to have some of those other bullpen guys come in. But we definitely look like we're going to be one of the best teams in the American League again with the Blue Jays, as well as a few other teams like the Yankees and a few others that will be in the mix. And we're very excited to be able to see what we're going to be able to do in this 2026 season. Cooper Criswell on the mound for the Mariners. First pitch, high and away with the cutter, 87 miles an hour, 1-0 count. But I've watched every spring training game this year, and that's probably a first. Normally as far as the ones that are televised, normally I'll watch maybe half, but this season, after how last season ended, it definitely, this regular season can't come soon enough. So I'm itching for baseball, and here we are. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking with the sinker, high and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Kyle Manzardo. 1-1 pitch, high and inside with a cutter. 2 balls and 1 strike from Criswell to Manzardo. 2-1 pitch, low and away. 3 balls and 1 strike to Kyle Manzardo. 3-1 pitch, inside, and that'll be a walk, and Manzardo to first. Next up is left fielder, 0 for 1 with a K, in the 5-hole, Nolan Jones. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the fourth inning, 4-0 Mariner lead. And to be the voice of the Mariners on YouTube is an honor. And I can't wait to be able to get into the regular season and call every game. It's going to be an amazing year, let me tell you. First pitch, high and away to Nolan Jones with a cutter, 1-0 count. And now we have a quick mound visit with Cal Raleigh and Cooper Criswell. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. And this is going to be Riz's last year on the radio. This is our 50th year anniversary, and how we were 8 outs away, from making the World Series. Even though the Blue Jays forced Game 7 and they weren't able to get it done, you have to assume the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, and the Mariners have to be the most excited going into this year. Dodgers are going for the three-peat, and the Blue Jays and Mariners are trying to be able to get to the World Series and do the unthinkable, beat the Dodgers. 1-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Criswell to Nolan Jones. 1-1 pitch, high and away with the cutter, 87 miles an hour. Criswell missing. 2 balls and 1 strike from Criswell to Jones. But again, to watch spring training, it gives you an idea of the guys in the farm, the guys that are in the pen, the guys that are newly acquired like Brendan Donovan, and just being able to see how they all mix and gel together with the vets like Julio and Cal and Randy and the rest. 2-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Nolan Jones. 2-2 pitch incoming here from Criswell. Big swing and a miss and a nice punch out there by Criswell. Nolan Jones, see you later. Nice punch out there. 1 away. Next up for the Guardians in the 6 hole, 1 for 1, DHing today, Jonathan Rodriguez. First pitch from Criswell, little grounder. And flip to first, got him. There we go. 2 away. Good defense there by the Mariners. Michael Arroyo was the few nice defensive plays this afternoon. Next up, 0 for 1, second baseman prospect here for the Guardians, Juan Brito. Top of the 4th inning, runner at second with 2 outs, 4-0 Mariner lead. And this won't be the only spring training game I do for the Mariners. The last few years I've done, usually somewhere in the 2 to 5 range. And that'll be the same case this season as well, maybe even more. But we do have the World Baseball Classic around the corner as well. So if we're not doing Mariner spring training games, we'll be doing some of that World Baseball Classic as well, with a tiny bit of NBA sprinkled in to fill in the gaps. And we will be doing WWE Elimination Chamber on Saturday. So a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of NBA, and then I'm definitely looking forward to more baseball, whether it be spring training or the World Baseball Classic. 1-1 pitch, high and inside with that cutter, 87 miles an hour by Cooper Criswell. 2 balls and 1 strike to Juan Brito. But I get more excitement watching my favorite team in sports, the Mariners, even if it's a spring training game, than a regular season NHL or NBA game. Not to say the NHL and the NBA are terrible, but again, it just depends on your connection to your favorite teams. Two-one pitch. All the way back to the track, and it is gone. And Juan Brito with a big 2-run bomb into center field, 4-2 Mariners. I used to watch a guy named Bernardo Brito, was one of the Twins farm guys back when I was a kid. I don't know if this is someone that's related to him, but great job there by Juan Brito. Next up is third baseman in the 8-hole, Carter Kieboom. And hopefully Cooper Criswell will slow down and not give up any more big plays like that. First pitch from Criswell to Kieboom, fouls it off right down the middle with a sinker, 90 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Oh, 0-1 pitch from Criswell, popped up. It's in right field, back to the wall, and caught. There we go. Dominic Canzone with out number 3, but not after Juan Brito with a 2-run blast. Nice job by him. 4-2 Mariner lead. Guardian fans like Jacob can feel a little bit better now that they're not down 4-0. Let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning and see if we can get a little bit more added on to the Mariner scoreboard. This is a global broadcast on the MLB app on MLB TV. So if you do have the MLB app, go to the bottom of the app where it says watch, click on this particular game with the Guardians and Mariners, and you can watch along. Next up for the Mariners in the 9-hole, shortstop, 1 for 1, a defender and a hitter, Colt Emerson, our best farm system prospect, better than Cole Young, better than Ben Williamson. He will be the guy that more than likely will be in the starting lineup sooner than later. Could even be at the beginning of the regular season. And then I can't wait for Cade Anderson to get his chance to be able to help the team pitch as well. Batting second, 0 for 2 today with an RBI after starting off his debut with the Mariners 2 games ago, going 2 for 2. Let's see if we can get a hit here for our All-Star last year, Rookie of the Year in 2022, Brendan Donovan. And batting third, 1 for 1 with a run and an RBI, the best catcher in baseball, the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go. Yeah, that's the reason why I decided to do this today. I've watched every game that's been televised so far. And in the past, I would watch maybe about half, but based on how last season ended, we're excited. I feel like this is the most excitement that Mariner fans have had ever, within the last couple of years. We're getting so close, to getting, to where we want to get. And again, this may be spring training, but to me, this is much more exciting than NHL or NBA games. We do got the World Baseball Classic. We'll do some Team USA and maybe some Dominican Republic games because Julio's playing there. But again, we want to make sure we're keeping an eye, on this team. We're 1 month away from the beginning of the regular season. We play this exact team in Seattle. So it's just nice to be able to, preview some of the young talent, some of the OGs, and some of the new additions, like obviously with Brendan Donovan. First pitch, Cole Emerson popped up to center field, and that is 1 away. Reflect with a 20. Thank you so much, man. February has been very, very challenging. Probably the most challenging month I've had in 2 years. So every dollar counts, and it will really help for me and Paisley, and just to kind of keep us afloat until we get into next month. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. Stacks, racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. We're at 20, 80 to go to hit our dono goal. Appreciate you. Absolutely. First pitch from Heron to Donovan. Pitches inside, 1-0 count. Yeah, and again, it's not like I wanted to be doing, NBA games, pretty much every day in February, but since we had the Olympics, there was no NHL available, so no Kraken opportunities. So it's either I stream NBA games or I don't do anything. And obviously when you have bills to pay, you kind of have to push yourself, even if it's something that you may not really want to do every day. But, we got to be able to push. We're getting close to the World Baseball Classic. We're only a few days away from February ending. And then once we get into March, from then on, the rest of the year, we should be fine. But definitely it's been very challenging. And again, I just can't wait to be able to get back into doing more baseball. So, and again, if I'm going to get more love and support doing spring training than doing NBA, then I'm going to do that. So 2-1 pitch in play, and Donovan with a single to center. Here we go. Nice job there by Brendan Donovan. And again, he is going to be our leadoff hitter for the 2026 season, more than likely. We started off the game with a double by Cal, a double by Julio, and a double by Randy, and that made it 2-0 Mariners. And then after that, in the second inning, Donovan grounded into a fielder's choice. Connor Joe filling in at first base. Obviously, for Josh Naylor scored 3-0 Mariners. Cal Raleigh sac fly. Arroyo scoring, making it 4-0 Mariners. And then Juan Brito homered for the Guardians with a 2-run blast a couple minutes ago. You might have seen that, making it 4-2 Seattle. First pitch from Heron to Raleigh. Cal drills it to left field. Back, gone! He doesn't go for a home run, but it's close. He gets a double to left, and Cal Raleigh ends up getting another RBI. For a second, I thought that was going to be gone for a home run, but all the way back to the wall, and he's been crushing it towards that left field line, looking like the best catcher in baseball, no doubt about that. Nice job there by Cal Raleigh as that ball drops right there towards that left field wall. 5-2 Mariners. Let's go. And Brendan Donovan coming home. Thank you, Cal Raleigh. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. 5-2 Mariners, baby. Let's go. Julio. Nice contact there. Throw to first. And Julio actually hustling in spring training. Who would have thought? And that is 2 away. But again, half of the games have been televised so far. And I think half of the games overall between now and next month will be on MLB, TV or the MLB app. So, as long as it's televised, I'm going to try to do as many of these as I can. I enjoy this more than the NBA or the NHL, even though it's spring training, since this is my favorite team to be able to root for and watch. So first pitch from Heron to Arosarena, fouls it off, 0-1 count. Plus, we haven't done a game on the channel since World Series Game 7. So it's been a few months. We've been doing a lot of NFL. Congratulations to the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl over the Patriots. We did a lot of college football. Congratulations to Indiana with the Hoosiers with Cignetti over Miami. And obviously we're, just patiently waiting for baseball to get going. We'll probably do an NBA stream tomorrow if SGA is healthy against the Nuggets and the Joker. And we got Elimination Chamber for WWE on Saturday. But then we're getting very close to the World Baseball Classic. We'll do a few of those, and we'll continue to do more spring training Mariner games. And then as we get into March, 1 month from today, season opener, Guardians and Mariners in Seattle. Can't wait. Donovan is going to be a huge impact for us offensively and defensively. And even though we're going to miss, Eugenio Suarez and obviously Jorge Polanco, I think that Donovan is going to be able to fill that gap for those two players. And then you got Colt Emerson that can fill in the rest. Little slow dribbler and a flip to first, and down goes Arosarena for out number 3, but not after Cal gets that RBI, and Donovan ends up, scampering home. 5-2 Mariner lead. End of the 4th inning, 5-2 Mariner lead. And again, if you're just tuning into the broadcast, back-to-back doubles to start off the game with Cal, Julio, and Randy Arosarena making it 2-0 Mariners. Donovan grounding into a fielder's choice, Connor Joe scoring, making it 3-0 Mariners. And then Raleigh getting a sac fly to right, and Michael Arroyo, who already has a home run in spring training this year, looking pretty good for a farm guy, making it 4-0 Mariners. Then we had Juan Brito in the top of the 4th with a 2-run blast with Manzardo on board, 4-2 Mariners. And then we just saw Cal Raleigh showing why he's the best catcher in baseball with a big double to left, almost a home run. Donovan scoring from second, and there you go. 5-2 Mariner lead. We love it. And let's see who's up next here for the Guardians. Leading off for the Guardians in the 9-hole, shortstop Angel Henao. Batting second, center fielder, leadoff spot Angel Martinez. And batting third, right fielder in the 2-hole, George Valera. Mariners going with a new pitcher. So we went Bryce Miller, then we went Mendoza, Criswell, and now we got Casey Legumina. So again, things could get a little dicey, once we start bringing in these, bullpen guys, farm guys and prospects and whatnot. So we'll see where it goes. But again, I've been impressed by Arroyo. I've been impressed by Colt Emerson. I've been impressed by Brendan Donovan. I mean, he did end up winning Rookie of the Year in the National League. Obviously in 2022 and made the All-Star team last year. I'll definitely take a player like that to replace, what we had from Gino and from Polo. I think he's going to be making more of an impact. And again, Donovan and Emerson for Gino and Polo, I think it's going to be an upgrade actually. So, and again, we still have to figure out who's going to be the DH every day. They'll probably be rotating a few guys. We got to figure out who's going to be playing third or second base. Obviously, we know Donovan can play multiple positions. Colt Emerson can as well. So we'll see who plays the best in spring training, and then they'll probably decide where they're going to put some of these guys. First pitch from Legumina, fouled off, 0-1 count. But again, Donovan gives you great offense and defense and gives us that leadoff hitter where we don't need to have Randy there. We don't have to have Robles there, even though he could do it, or JP. And it gives us a great lineup, with Donovan, Raleigh, Julio, Naylor, Randy, and then whoever else after. Little flip to Casey Legumina there from Connor Joe, 1 away. Little slow dribbler there, and we'll take that. Down goes Angel. And we go to another Angel at the 1-hole, center fielder Angel Martinez. First pitch from Casey Legomina, takes a strike looking high and away, 0-1 count. And ABS has been pretty good this season with players challenging, whether it's the batter or the catcher. And again, it's definitely going to expose some of these bad umps that obviously don't know how, they have their own strike zone and don't really call a game the right way. 0-1 pitch from Legomina popped up from Angel Martinez, and Canzone is there, and that is 2 away. Yeah, but remember, we only had Gino at the deadline, so it's not like we had Gino from the beginning of the year. And I feel that Donovan will give you what Polo gave you, so that will be kind of like a scratch. And then we're gonna have to be able to pick someone up like a Gino at the deadline. So that's why I don't really compare Gino to everyone now, because we only had him at the deadline. So when we go to the deadline, we'll get another player like a Gino to fill the spot that is in need at that time. But Donovan for Polo at the start of the season, I think that's going to be an upgrade or pretty close. Number wise, better defender, that's for sure with Donovan. And then if we can get Colt Emerson going, that could give us that extra oomph while we're waiting to, add on to the roster at the deadline. But obviously a guy, hitting 50 home runs at third base is rare. We're not going to be able to, necessarily have something like that. But at the deadline, we will be able to, go for a pretty big name, I assume. 1-0 pitch fouled off right down the middle with the sweeper. 1 ball and 1 strike from Legomina to Valera. But, once we can get Cade Anderson in the lineup, obviously I don't want, another injury to our starting 5, but, I think Colt Emerson and Cade Anderson will be huge for us this year. 2-1 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away, 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs, 5-2 Mariner lead. We're 2-3-1, had a tie. And again, our starting pitchers haven't been able to go the distance because it's spring training. But we've seen Gilbert, Kirby, Wu, and now obviously with Bryce Miller. And again, hitting hasn't really been a problem for us in spring training. We've been absolutely crushing it there. It's just been the inconsistency after the starting pitcher goes out. And that's kind of a given, right? Anytime you end up going after your starting pitcher, going to a backup or a farm guy or a bullpen guy, of course it's not going to be as good. And that's why you get so much, scoring in spring training. And Valera, big swing and a miss. And that is out number 3. Nice job there by Casey Legomina. But I'm going to do as many televised games, from now into the, 1 month from now. Again, NBA and NHL, is not ideal for me, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But, I'd rather do spring training baseball, even if it's on at noon, rather than doing like an NBA or NHL game that's got a better time at like 5, 6, 7 p.m. But again, if people aren't going to, be interested in those things, I don't want to waste my time. So I'd rather do something that I'm passionate about and that I know that others are passionate about as well. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th inning, 5-2 Mariner lead. Let's see who's up next for the Mariners. And this starting lineup here today was about 70% of what you normally would see, besides Connor Joe at first, which would normally be Josh Naylor, and then obviously Michael Arroyo filling in at second base for the time being. But it's nice to be able to see some of the new guys get a little bit of reps. Leading off for the Mariners, 1 for 2 with a K, Mr. Hustle himself DHing. In the 5-hole, Luke Raley. Batting second, 0 for 2, playing right field, Dominic Canzone. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a run, filling in for Josh Naylor today, first baseman Connor Joe. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. But I'll be honest, man, February was the roughest month I've had in maybe 2 or 3 years. NHL wasn't even available to do for the Kraken. We had the Olympics, so it was pretty much do NBA or do nothing. And obviously when you have bills to pay and a pup to take care of, it's not ideal. But we finally made it pretty much to the end of February, thank God. And we got the World Baseball Classic for the first couple weeks of March. And then the beginning of the MLB season will be 1 month from today. And then at that point, moving forward, we'll be doing Mariner baseball every day, and we shouldn't have any issues. So every dollar, donated to the channel is really going to help. It's been really hard, in February. Every like, every sub, every view, everything matters, here moving forward. But I'll tell you, February was definitely not something I want to repeat. First pitch from Avila to Rayleigh, big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. Yeah, bro, he put out over 100 beats in 5 months. And again, not, and some are going to be better than others. But again, that's a lot of dedication and heart since I invested in his, new synthesizer upgrade. And again, he's been really, grinding it out. So anyone that has dreams and goals and you can help them achieve their dreams and goals, and it's an exciting thing to be able to see. Pitch is low and inside with the change up there by Avila. 1-1 count. 1-1 pitch to Rayleigh. Big swing and a miss. Low and away with the changeup. 83 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 5th inning. 5-2 Mariner lead. Yeah, for sure. And every time you listen to a beat on the Untitled app, he sees it. So, 1-2 pitch. Low and away with the changeup. 83 miles an hour there by Avila. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Plus, I figured this would be a good time for me to practice, and get back into the repetition of calling a baseball game, since the last one that we did was, at the end of October, beginning of November, Game 7, Blue Jays and obviously Dodgers, as it's popped up into foul territory and caught. And a big out there for the Guardians. Good hustle there by Cleveland. But again, it's nice to be able to, get a few games and spring training in. So when the regular season starts, you don't feel, and obviously I do this every day, so it shouldn't really take, too much time to get back into the rhythm. But obviously, as anybody knows, baseball is completely different than doing an NFL game or college football or NBA or NHL or WWE. So, you got to be able to find your cadence and your rhythm. And, it didn't really take us that long here today. First pitch to Dominic Canzone. Takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. But again, I would rather, do spring training games, as we have an ABS Mariners Challenge here. I'd rather do, spring training games than anything else, even if it's only at like noon, which isn't an ideal time because people are working or have school or usually have, things that they're doing. But if people know that I'm streaming, people can always hop in, so. 0-1 pitch from Avila. Big swing and a miss by Dominic Canzone. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. 5-2 Mariner lead. Come on, Dom. And I've watched every televised game so far of the Mariners, and that's not something I usually do in spring training, but, I'm excited for this season. And Martinez with a diving catch in center field. And he traps it, but again, Dominic Canzone, safe. Let's go. Nice hit by Dom. I didn't know if that ball was going to drop. Hits it to center field, and a good attempt there, but is not able to trap that ball fully before it hits the turf. Next up, first baseman Connor Joe. Bottom of the 5th inning, runner at first, Dominic Canzone with 1 out. We're 2-3-1. We had a tie yesterday in a game with Wu pitching that wasn't televised. Otherwise, I would have probably streamed that one yesterday. And they have a game tomorrow that's not televised. But as soon as the games are on the MLB app, as soon as that is, we'll be able to continue to do a few more, as well as the World Baseball Classic until we get into the end of March for Game 1 between the Guardians and Mariners 1 month from today. Little slow dribbler to Connor Joe. Flips to second. Double play. Got him. And Connor Joe hitting into the deadly double play. Usually we like to get the double plays on our end. And down goes Canzone and Connor Joe. That'll be the end of the 5th inning with runners stranded. 5-2 Mariner lead. But again, with the amount of hitting that the Mariners have been able to produce in spring training, the games have been more exciting, I feel, this year even compared to last year and the year before. So again, it's nice that, they're going to be televising about half of these games. This is our 50th season. This is Rick Riz's last year on the radio. So that means that we need to win the World Series and get to the World Series for Riz in his last year. He's one of the greatest, radio personalities for any team ever. And again, I absolutely love Riz, and it's going to be a damn shame that he is going to be retiring, but well-deserved. And hopefully we can make him proud this year, as well as a guy that normally would call games for us on the TV side in heaven, Dave Niehaus, who just celebrated a birthday recently in baseball heaven. Let's go to the top of the 6th inning, 5-2 Mariner lead. Leading off 1 for 2 with a base on ball, center fielder Angel Martinez. Batting second, 1 for 3 with a K, right fielder George Valera. And it looks like David Fry's day is done, and they're going to bring in Huff. All right, Cole Wilcox coming in for the Mariners, and Cody Huff in the box. All right, Brendan Donovan finally exits the game, so we're going to start to see a few more rotational guys come in. First pitch from Wilcox to Huff, takes a strike looking with a sinker, 0-1 count. So Cody Huff is coming in now for David Fry. Oh-1 pitch, low and away with a sweeper, 86 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike from Wilcox to Huff. Yeah, 50th season, obviously we've seen the Pacific Northwest, really start to make a name for ourselves with the Huskies and the Ducks within the last few years in college football. Seahawks, obviously, getting a chance to, be a champion, obviously beating the, Patriots. And obviously the Mariners, being one of the last 3 teams left last year with the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. So you have to assume that the Dodgers, Blue Jays, and Mariners are going to be the 3 best. Again, they're going to be very good, as well as a few other teams in the National League and a few others. We can't forget about the Astros and the Yankees and the Rangers and a few others, maybe even this Guardian team that we're playing, but it definitely is an exciting time to be a Mariner fan. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Wilcox to Huff. But 50th season, great time to be able to, win it all. Let's do it for Riz. 2-2 pitch, low and away with the sinker, 96 miles an hour. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Wilcox to Huff. 3-2 pitch, outside, and that will be a walk. And we haven't really gotten destroyed yet with the backup pitching. We did give up a 2-run blast with Brito, but other than that, we've been pretty good, at least today so far, but we have a few innings to go. Next up, for the Guardians, 0 for 1 with a run and a base on ball. First baseman in the 4-hole today, Kyle Manzardo. First pitch, fouled off towards that third base line. Sinker, 97 miles an hour, 0-1 count. But looking forward to doing some more spring training games, some more World Baseball Classic, and just can't wait. 1 month from today, we're going to be in it. First game of the regular season at home versus the Cleveland Guardians. Going to be exciting as hell. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging, low and at the knees with a slider. No balls and 2 strikes from Wilcox to Manzardo. Yeah, looking forward to seeing his progression. That was an incredible game for sure. One of the, showcase games of the year. When you can have a performance like that. 0-2 pitch, fouled off towards that first base line. But to have Brendan Donovan lead off, Cal at second, Julio at third, and then have Naylor, at cleanup, Randy at 5, and then you can pretty much put anyone at 6, 7, 8, 9, between Dom and, Emerson or JP or Victor Robles or Dominic Canzone. So, again, we're going to have one of the deepest lineups 1 through 9, and it's going to be very sexy to watch. And hopefully the pitchers will stay injury-free. We had 4 out of the 5 injured besides Castillo. I don't want to see Wu or Gilbert or Kirby or Miller or Castillo hurt. And we do have Cade Anderson waiting in the wings. Again, if anyone gets hurt, he'll get a chance to play for us sooner than later. 1-2 pitch. Slow dribbler up the middle. No double play attempt there. Runner was off the bag. Throw to first. And that is 1 away. Emerson just didn't have the angle there. Next up, in the 5 hole for the Guardians, left fielder, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, Nolan Jones. And it is televised on the MLB app if you want to watch along. First pitch from Wilcox to Jones, low and away with the slider, 87 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Runner at second. 5-2 Mariner lead, top of the 6th. And it's been a pretty dominant game so far from the very start to have back-to-back-to-back doubles. But again, with these backup pitchers, you never know. Popped up into right field. Dominic Canzone is there. Nice catch. There we go. And that's going to be 2 away. Runner tags up and goes from second to third. And hopefully we can keep him there. Nice job by Dominic Canzone playing some good defense in right field. Be a mix of him and obviously Victor Robles in right, and Dom might DH as well. Next up for the Guardians in the 6 hole, 1 for 2, DHing Jonathan Rodriguez. Come on, Wilcox. If Wu didn't get injured, we would have made the World Series. I think that's pretty fair to say. Even though we had, no Kirby for the first few months and Gilbert wasn't himself, and then Miller was banged up, and, Castillo really was the only one that wasn't injured, and he was very hit or miss at the end of the year. In the beginning and into the middle of the year, he was pretty good. But then, obviously numbers have been kind of going on a downward trajectory. But I really do believe if Wu was healthy at the end of the year, we would have won. Against the Blue Jays. I don't know if we would have been able to beat the Dodgers. We might have been able to get to game 6, game 7, like, Toronto, but you never know. If Wu's healthy and maybe he does what Yamamoto does and pitches, in a dominant fashion. And, if you can have a starting pitcher go 3 times in 7 games, sometimes that can be the difference with Ohtani 2 years ago and then Yamamoto last year. Big swing and a miss. And we keep that runner at third base. Nice job by Wilcox with that nice punch out there at the end. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and the Mariners are up by 3. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1 with a run, a base on ball, and a K. Has a home run already in spring training. Second baseman, Michael Arroyo. Batting second, 1 for 2. He can play offense or defense. Better than Cole Young, better than Ben Williamson. Colt Emerson. Let's go, Colt. And then Brendan Donovan's day is done. So Swiss Bell is getting a chance to come in. All right, Luis Swiss Bell. I didn't know if I was going to be able to find a farm photo of him, but there's one. There with the Everett Aqua Sox, one of our farm teams for the Seattle Mariners. Scotty in the building. What's good? What's good, Scott? I walk past your house every day, with the pup. Going towards that park. A lot of memories growing up. Hope you and the wifey and the kids, everyone is doing good out there. And again, Mariner, regular season baseball 1 month away, but I figured we'd get it started here, with some spring training games to kind of get us acclimated for the regular season, to be able to see some of the new additions like Brendan Donovan, who won Rookie of the Year in 2022 in the National League for the Cardinals, made the All-Star game last year, getting to see some young guys like Arroyo and Emerson, and then obviously seeing guys like, Cal and Julio, being the best at their positions at catcher and center field. So first pitch there fouled off by Arroyo, 0-1 count. But to start off the game with back-to-back doubles with Cal, Julio, and Randy is a good start. And again, we're hopefully pacing for a good win here. One pitch outside. Two balls and one strike to Michael Arroyo. Two-one pitch. Arroyo crushes it towards third base. Go, baby, go! Go, Arroyo, all the way back to the wall, and another double. Let's go. Great job by Michael Arroyo. He's having a great spring. Nice rope down the line. And again, a beautiful double by Michael Arroyo. Next up is shortstop today, Colt Emerson. But I've been wanting to do some spring training for the Mariners. Half of the games have been televised so far, and I felt like, since this is the opponent that we're going to be playing in game one of the regular season, even though the time, 12 o'clock isn't the greatest, start time for a stream, you got to do what is available to you. So Nikhazy on the mound. Emerson in the box with a 1-0 count. One 0 pitch, takes a strike looking. One ball and one strike to Colt Emerson. Bottom of the sixth inning, 5-2 Mariner lead. And this is about 70% of the starting lineup, besides Connor Joe and Michael Arroyo. Normally there would be Naylor and JP in there, but you get an idea. Emerson crushing it, center field. He misplaces it in the sun. It goes all the way back to the wall. Emerson going for three. Go, go, go. And he is safe. Let's go. Emerson with a triple and another RBI as Michael Arroyo scampers home. Colt Emerson with a triple. Let's go. Way to bring the electricity. 6-2 Mariners. And when you can see young guys like Arroyo and Emerson, being productive, that gives you hope, that if we need those guys, during the regular season, that we can plug them in and we won't, have an issue. And again, great job there. Nice triple by Colt Emerson, who's having a great spring like Arroyo. Next up is Luis Susbel. Sispo, lace down that right field line. Go, baby, go. And that's going to bring in another run. Colt Emerson from third, 7-2 Mariners. Let's go. I mean, even our, no-name guys are coming up big. Nice job by Luis Susbel. First pitch all the way down that right field line. Big RBI. And after we just saw Colt Emerson with a triple scoring Michael Arroyo, 2 farm gems, now Colt Emerson gets to come home from third by a nice hit by Luis Susbel. Beautiful. Next up, the big dumper Cal Raleigh. 2 for 2 with a run and 2 RBIs. He already hit his first home run in spring in his last appearance. Could we get a big Cal Raleigh home run here? Let's go. Let's make it 10-2 M's. I've missed the trident. I've missed it. First pitch, high and away by Nikhazy, 1-0 count. This team could be better than last year's team. I mean, as long as we don't have injuries, with the pitching staff. Obviously, we're going to miss Gino. We're going to miss Polo, but getting Brendan Donovan there, having Kate Anderson waiting in the wings, and having guys like Colt Emerson that could start, day one, it's going to be an exciting time. We got Naylor re-signed, and it's going to be exciting. Little slow dribbler, throw to first. And Cal Raleigh grounds out to the pitcher, and that's going to be 1 away. But we should be just as good as last year's team, possibly even better. And again, we were 8 outs away from the World Series. And again, you never know, how it's going to play out. But if we can stay injury-free to a certain degree, especially with our big-name guys like Wu late in the year, as well as our key hitters, this could be an MVP type of year for Julio and Cal. And they already are recognized as the best center fielder in the game, Julio Rodriguez, and the best catcher, Cal Raleigh. So we already have 2 of the best players at their positions, and a few other top 10 guys like Brian Wu in the league. We just need to be able to stay healthy. First pitch to Julio. Outside, 1-0 count. Come on, J-Rod. And if J-Rod can start hot at the beginning of the year, this could be a year where he's in the MVP. He's always been in the running. He's always been like top 7 in, voting. But he actually could be closer to being top 3, top 4, especially if he could have like a 40-40, 50-50 kind of year. And he's got the talent to do it. He just has to be off to a faster start. 2-0 pitch. High and away. And that's a 3-0 count to Julio Rodriguez, who definitely is looking a lot more patient in 2026. Yeah, Ryan Sloan as well. Another guy that could, come out. I don't think he'll be as good as Cade Anderson, but yeah, it's another guy that Sloan could end up getting a call-up at some point. Sloan could be maybe more of a bullpen guy, but Cade is going to be more of a starter. So 3-0 pitch, and that will be a walk. Julio to first. Good patience and good eye discipline by Julio Rodriguez. Next up, left fielder Randy Arosarena, unless they have someone come in for him here. Daniel in the building, what's good? Yeah, like I said, I've been keeping track of, single A, double A, triple A, high A, and obviously spring training ball on top of, we're getting 1 month away from the regular season. So, if you are a Mariner fan and, you want to be able to kind of see, how the new guys are doing, like Brendan Donovan, as well as the farm guys coming up like Arroyo and Colt Emerson, this is the time to be able to, kind of take a peek on what these guys can do. And we're going to be very good this year. Definitely should be one of the top 3 teams in the American League, you would think. First pitch from Nick Casey to Arosarena, low and at the knees with a slider, 87 miles an hour, 1-0 count. I mean, Julio's playing for the Dominican Republic with a bunch of amazing, MLB superstars. I assume that it'll be the Dominican Republic and Team USA in the final, but you never know. Hard hit ball, throw to second, double play, and got him. Randy Arosarena hitting into the double play, leaving a couple stranded. That's the end of the 6th inning. 7-2 Mariner lead. But again, I'll do a few Team USA games, and then I might do Dominican Republic just because Julio's playing, as well as a few other big-time superstar players in the MLB. Those will probably be the only 2 teams that I cover, just based on Cal being on Team USA with Judge and Scooball and many others, and then obviously Julio being on Dominican Republic. But it kind of just depends, the time and if there's a Mariner spring training game going on and whatnot. But obviously, if you can, watch and call a game where Julio and Cal are playing for the Mariners, then, you want to be able to tap in. End of the 6th inning, 7-2 Mariner lead. Leading off for the Guardians will be Halpin coming in, Rosario, and Huff. Petey Halpin, Rosario, and Huff are the next 3 here in the top of the 7th. Mariners look very impressive, which I already assumed that they would be, even though our record in spring training isn't the greatest because pitching has kind of let us down after the starter went out, whether it be Wu or Gilbert or Kirby or Miller. But again, in this game, the pitching actually has been good and hitting is continuing to be great for us in spring training. And this might be the, best spring training hitting team that we've ever had in recent memory. So, even the games that we're losing, we're putting up 5, 7, 8, 10, so that shows that, we're definitely ready on that side of the ball. And we just need to be able to get some more reps, for some of these farm guys, backup guys in the pen. And then obviously once we have the starters go the distance, 6 to 8 innings, hopefully they'll be able to stay somewhat injury free. First pitch, Tolentino, and past Arroyo for a base hit. We got Lutos on the mound for the Mariners and Tolentino with that nice base knock for the Guardians. Yeah, this is the first spring training game on the channel, and we'll be doing quite a few until we get into the first regular season game, which is 1 month away against this same team, the Cleveland Guardians. And we got the World Baseball Classic. We'll be doing, still a tiny bit of NBA, and then we got WWE Elimination Chamber on Saturday. So, a little bit of basketball, a little bit of WWE, but a majority will be baseball from here on until the regular season start. First pitch to Devers. Pitch is inside, 1-0 count. Appreciate you. Every dollar counts, man. And again, it's been a rough February. I only had NBA to do, and that wasn't really ideal. Stacks. Racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Thank you so much. We're at 40, 60 to go to hit the Dono goal. And again, it's really going to help out, with just basic bills and to be able to help take care of the pup. So. Yeah, I mean, especially when you're not getting your starting pitcher, going 6, 7 innings. Again, some of the games are, to some people are going to be like quote unquote meaningless. But I think for a lot of us Mariner fans, we want to be able to see the young guys, the new guys gelling with the vets and just to see how we look. And again, even if our record isn't the greatest, we know that we're going to be ready day 1 month from today. 0-1 pitch, high and away to Francisca. 1 ball and 1 strike with runners at first and second and no outs. Larry in the building. What's good? Yeah, and again, having the game start around noon is the only downside to spring training games, but they do have a few sprinkled in that will be on later, but not every game is going to be televised, about half on the MLB app. Top of the 7th inning, runners at first and second with no outs, 7-2 Mariner lead. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Lutos. But shout out to Reflect and Scott for holding it down. I was starting to drive myself crazy only doing NBA games. And, not to say that I dislike the NBA or NHL. It's just not the same as baseball for me. So, for me, I'd rather do baseball or NFL or college football at the top, but football season's over, so we're kind of limited on what we can do. But at least the World Baseball Classic is right around the corner for a few weeks, first couple weeks of March, and then 1 month from today, Guardians versus Mariners there at T-Mobile, game number 1, and that's going to be a very exciting day, let me tell you. 1-2 pitch, low and away with the slider by Lutos. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Francisca. Little slow dribbler. And no chance for a double play there. Runners advance to second and third, and that is 1 away. Yeah, but the Olympics, shout out to the men's hockey team and women's hockey team getting gold, over Canada. Obviously beating them at their own sport and whatnot, but obviously that left no room for any NHL games. So we were pretty much stuck doing just NBA, which is not ideal for me, but it is what it is. And at least we're at the end of the month finally. And now we can kind of, look forward to March with baseball moving forward for the rest of the year with football, NFL and college when that time comes. 0-1 pitch, takes a big swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes from Lutos to help him. That's a good question. I mean, if everyone is healthy, you assume it should be Brian Wu if everyone is healthy. But again, they could go with Gilbert, to start it off, or Kirby. I mean, anybody but Miller or Castillo. We know those guys won't be. So, pretty much any of those three. But, if I was doing it, it would probably be Wu and then Gilbert and then Kirby and then Miller and then Castillo. That's how I would. And then if somebody gets hurt like Castillo, bring up Cade Anderson. That would be the guy I would want in there first, even though I do like what Ryan Sloan has shown in the farm system. But I would assume it'll be Gilbert or Wu leading it off for us, in game one. It should be Wu as long as he's healthy. I think that would give us the best chance to win, to get things going. Not to say that Gilbert couldn't win game one for us. I think he could. But, if we want to come out with a bang, I think Wu starting would be, ideal. 1-2 pitch. Back. See ya! Alpin homers to right center. 3-run blast. And just like that, 7-5, Mariner lead. Big 3-run blast there. And again, that's when you end up bringing in these like jobber, no-name, pitchers that are normally backup pitchers, bullpen guys, or even guys that are just farm system guys that may or may not even be on our team, in the next, few months down the road. But again, it's a part of spring training, right? You get pitchers that aren't going to be normally playing, and sometimes you end up giving up, big home runs like that. But hopefully that'll be the last big home run they give up. First pitch from Lutos to Rosario. Big swing and a miss at the knees, 0-1 count. But we still got a 7-5 lead, so hopefully we'll be able to add on a little bit in the last few innings to hang on for a victory. And regardless if we, win or lose, I guess it really doesn't matter, but you want to win more games if you can. But again, the hitting has been great in spring training. Really, the only reason that we're 2-3-1 is because the pitching has let us down. But not our starting pitching, but everyone coming in after the starter. 0-1 pitch, low and away. Slider 88 miles an hour by Lutos, who just gave up a 3-run blast. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 7th inning, 7-5 Mariners. But I feel like the Mariners hitting has been much better in spring training this year compared to last year. And again, I've been watching every game that's been televised so far, so I haven't missed the game. So and normally, I would watch maybe half, but I'm so excited about this upcoming year. There's not really anything else to, watch instead of this at this time window. So might as well soak it in. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Lutos to Rosario. Yeah, that's true. But you never know. He might get better. It's just like Bizzardo. Bizzardo used to be one of the worst guys in the pen, and then he turned into one of the best, even though he was the guy that gave up the big hit, the big home run to Springer, and whatnot. But again, sometimes you can be bad and then work your way up. So, it's like you got Brash, you got Bizzardo, you got Spire, and we always assumed that Brash and Spire would be better than Bizzardo, but that wasn't the case last year. And Rosario strikes out looking, and that is 2 away. But hopefully, we know Vargas is wild, but he's got good speed. It's just about getting his control and finding his spots, which he normally couldn't really do on a regular basis, but you never know. If Bizzardo can improve, maybe Vargas can too. And we have to be optimistic. We just have to assume that they're going to get better, not get worse. But I hear you. First pitch to Huff, takes the strike looking, 0-1 count. Top of the 7th inning, 7-5 Mariner lead with nobody on and 2 outs. Lutos on the mound for the Mariners, Huff in the box for the Guardians. Yeah, Cal looking great, Julio looking great, Donovan looking good, as that new addition. I think he's going to be a huge fan favorite, and it'll help us with that leadoff position, being able to get those hits and getting a guy on board for Cal and Julio to knock him in for home runs or RBIs. And not to say, because I don't think Randy was very good as a leadoff hitter. We already tried JP in the past, and then Robles got hurt after he did a pretty good job after he ran into the wall there in San Francisco. But I think Donovan is the perfect leadoff hitter for us. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss by Huff. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. But if we can get Donovan on, and then Cal plays 2, Julio 3, Naylor 4, Randy 5, and then whoever's at 6, 7, 8, 9 between Dominic Canzone and Luke Rayleigh, JP Crawford and Colt Emerson and Victor Robles, it's going to be pretty sexy. We're going to have one of the best 1 through 9 lineups, not only in the American League, but overall. 1-2 pitch. And takes a strikeout looking, and Lutos finally gets out of the inning after giving up a 3-run jack. Let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning and see who is up next for the Mariners. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. We're at 40, 60 to go. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 3 with a K. DHing in the 5-hole, Luke Rayleigh. Batting second, 1 for 2, right fielder Dominic Canzone. And batting third for the Mariners, coming in for Connor Joe, will be Carson Taylor, the former Philly. But I'll tell you what, even though this is a spring training game, more exciting to me than any NBA or NHL game. And again, this is an exciting time. We're in our 50th anniversary. We saw the Seahawks, what they did in their 50th anniversary. They ended up, going all the way, beating the Patriots, just a few weeks back. Rick Riz, the final year before he retires on the radio, this would be a great year to be able to go all the way and beat the Dodgers. A little David versus Goliath, and obviously we assume as long as the Dodgers don't have any major injuries, to Shohei or Freddie Freeman or Mookie Betts or Yamamoto, they should be in the mix. And again, I wouldn't want it any other way. If we're going to win it all, I want us to be able to play the best of the best. And I think it would be so meaningful if we could end up beating a team like that where no one would give us a chance. But we saw how close the Blue Jays were, took it to Game 7, and you have to assume the Blue Jays and Mariners will be in the mix again for the best teams in the American League. First pitch by Webb to Pareda. They're making a few adjustments here since we're late in the game. Coming in for Luke Rayleigh. Takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss there by Pareda, who is pinch hitting here for Luke Rayleigh. No balls and 2 strikes from Webb to Pareda. Mike in the building, what's good? Yeah, the thing is with Skubal, there was going to be no chance that we would get him. I mean, we don't want to blow up half the team to get him for like a year and then he goes to a different team. It's not like we would be able to get a player like that without dismantling our team. So, we don't need him. Again, I would rather beat him than have him on the team and have to blow up half the team to get him. So, we're in great position right now, even without Skubal. So, and they're going to have a great rotation, bringing Verlander back, even though he's old. But again, Tigers should be up and coming, and I can't wait to be able to face him. Obviously the Mariners were one of the only teams that could beat him, and we need to keep it that way. 1-2 pitch, fouled off, right down the middle with the changeup, 84 miles an hour by Webb. And Pareda, little slow dribbler, to the shortstop, throw to first, and that is 1 away. Mike in the building. What's good, brother? Next up is Dominic Canzone. But, it's an honor to be the voice of the Mariners, on YouTube. We're going to continue to be the voice of the Mariners every year moving forward. And again, in the next 5 to 15 years, we should have 1 or 2 World Series appearances as long as we continue to go in the direction that we've been going the last 3 years. And again, could be our year this year. We just got to pray for, not as many injuries to the players that we had. And even with all those injuries, we almost made the World Series, 8 outs away. So if Wu was healthy, we would have made it. First pitch from Webb to Canzone, fouls it off, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch popped up, and Canzone flies out to left, and that is 2 away. Bottom of the 7th inning, 7-5, Seattle lead with nobody on and 2 outs. And hopefully we'll be able to add on a few more hits and a few more runs before this one is over. All right, take care, brother. 1-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss there by Taylor. 1 ball and 1 strike from Webb to Taylor. Bottom of the 7th inning, 7-5, Seattle lead. One pitch, high and inside with a sinker, 93 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike from Webb to Taylor. Let's see if Carson Taylor can get something going here for Seattle. Pitches high and away, but hits that corner and gets the strike call. 82 miles an hour with that slider. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the 7th inning, 7-5, Mariner lead. Pitches inside, and looked like there was a foul ball or a foul tip there. I don't know if it hit the player, though. Okay, it looks like it hit the bat. Come on, Hams. Two-two pitch. And fouled away towards that third base line. Kind of fouled it off himself. Change up 84 miles an hour there by Webb. Bottom of the 7th inning, 7-5, Seattle lead with nobody on and 2 outs with a 2-ball, 2-strike count with 2 outs from Webb to Taylor. Two-two pitch. Inside. 4-seam fastball missing by a few inches. 93 miles an hour by Webb. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. 3-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. And down goes Taylor. And that's the end of the Mariners and the end of the 7th inning. Let's go to the top of the 8th and see who's up next here for the Guardians. All right, next up is prospect Ralphie Velasquez. And after that, you're starting to have some of the backups in here. Khalil Watson after that. And last but not least, it will be Rodriguez there batting third at DH. So it looks like they're going to substitute a couple of these guys, try to get a few more reps for some of the newbies and farm system guys to see how they develop. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. All right, Robinson Ortiz entering the matchup for the Mariners. First pitch to Velasquez. Fouls it off. 0-1 count. Four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour there by Ortiz. Ortiz with the Dodger organization last year. And Velasquez pops up and foul. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 8th inning, Mariners hanging on with a 2-run lead. But we'll be sprinkling in a few of these spring training games with the World Baseball Classic. So if you end up checking social media or just the community page, each day, you'll be able to see what stream that we're going to end up doing here on the channel. But there'll be quite a few baseball streams moving forward. We might do Thunder and Nuggets tomorrow, since the Mariner game tomorrow is not televised, unfortunately, if SGA comes back. And then we got Elimination Chamber for WWE on Saturday. And then moving forward, we got World Baseball Classic and Mariner spring training games until we get to the regular season 1 month from today against the same Cleveland Guardian team. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Ortiz to Velasquez. 1-2 pitch, low and away with a slider again, 84 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. All right. Ortiz with the violation. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Ortiz to Velasquez. Three-two pitch, and Velasquez flies out to right, and that is 1 away. Nice job by Rylan Thomas there, 1 away. Khalil Watson up next. First pitch from Ortiz, takes a strike looking right down the middle with a slider, 84 miles an hour, 0-1 count. And we had a majority of the starters play about 6-7 innings. A few backups here and there, but they went a little bit deeper. And it's nice to be able to see the development of the farm guys, the backups, and the regulars. Pitch is inside. Four-seam fastball by Ortiz, missing by a few inches, 94 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 8th, Mariners up by 2 with a 7-5 lead. 1-1 pitch by Ortiz. And a ground ball up the middle. And a nice base knock there by Khalil Watson. Next up, 1 for 2 in the 6th hole, DHing Jonathan Rodriguez. This will be a great time for a slow dribbler up the middle to get a double play to get out of the inning. Oh, it looks like they ended up making a substitution here late. Barstad is in instead of Rodriguez. They switched him at the very last minute. First pitch to Barstad. Fouls it off towards that third base line. Foul. 93 miles an hour there by Ortiz. No balls and 1 strike. From Ortiz to Barstad. Top of the 8th, 7-5, Mariner lead. Oh, 1 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike from Ortiz to Barstad. Come on, baby. Finish strong here. See if we can get that double play. 1-1 pitch from Ortiz, the former Dodger, now on the Mariners. Low and away. Slider missing there by a few inches, 85 miles an hour inside. 2 balls and 1 strike with a runner at first and 1 out, 7-5, Seattle lead. Two 2-1 pitch from Ortiz. Chopper towards first base, foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Ortiz on the mound, Barstead in the box. Two-two pitch. And a little foul tip there by Barstad. Keeps him alive. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. Ortiz on the mound for the Mariners. Barstad in the box for the Guardians. Two-two pitch, popped up. Oh, diving grab by the Mariners in the outfield. Holy moly. Wow. Beautiful catch there in the outfield by Seattle. Let me see a replay of that. Rylan Thomas. Wow. Diving, sliding grab there by Rylan Thomas, saving us a run, maybe even 2. Nice job. Next up is Tolentino with 2 outs. Nice job by Rylan. Obviously coming in for Julio Rodriguez. Runner going. Throw at second. Safe. Khalil Watson safe at second. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it wasn't ideal to, do so many NBA games. We didn't have anything really else to do. So, I'd rather do spring training baseball than pretty much anything else besides regular season baseball. And we're only a month away. So World Baseball Classic right around the corner. So we should be doing baseball streams for a majority the rest of the way. We'll see if, SGA comes back to the Thunder tomorrow. We might do that versus the Joker and the Nuggets. WWE Elimination Chamber is on Saturday, so we can do that for a change of pace. And then after that, should be, either World Baseball Classic or spring training baseball the rest of the way until we get to a month from today, which will be the beginning of the regular season versus the Guardians. 2-0 pitch, big swing and a miss by Tolentino. 2 balls and 1 strike with a runner at second and 2 outs. 7-5 Mariner lead. Yeah, it's nice to be able to, again, I wanted to be able to do a couple of the games, previous to this, but I thought maybe it's a little early, but again, I figured, okay, we're playing the Guardians for the first game of the season. This one kind of lined up, to being, okay, maybe this will be the right day. We're at the end of February. Maybe it's not too early. Obviously spring training is different than regular season, but a lot of us are itching for baseball. So, and I'd rather do spring training baseball than, anything NHL or NBA related. So 2-1 pitch, takes a strike, looking low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second and 2 outs. 2-2 pitch, high and away with a 4-seam fastball, missing by a few inches there. 94 miles an hour there by Ortiz. Count now is full, 3 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second and 2 outs. Plus, it takes a little bit of time to get into a baseball rhythm. It's a lot different than calling a basketball game or a college football or an NFL game. It takes a little bit of time to get back into that repetition and rhythm. And that is a walk, Tolentino to first. But it feels good to watch games and call games again. I've been itching since World Series Game 7, and here we are. Next up there for the Guardians is, I believe Devers is walking up now, and we got a mound visit. All right. Pete Woodward going to have a quick talk here with Ortiz. But again, you got to think, the Dodgers trying to go back to back to back. They're excited about the incoming year. The Blue Jays and the Mariners, being the last two teams left in the American League. We're very excited about what could happen in 2026. And again, we know the Blue Jays are going to be good. Mariners are going to be good. You never can count out the Astros or the Rangers. We'll see, how the Twins and the Tigers and the Guardians do, in the Central. It's going to be exciting to be able to see how it all plays out. And obviously you can't count out the Yankees out of anything every single year, but it should be a very exciting year for the Mariners in 2026 and beyond. First pitch to Devers by Ortiz, low and away, missing badly. Fastball, 91 miles an hour there by Ortiz, 1-0 count. Got to get out of this jam. We got runners at first and second with 2 outs. One-0 pitch, takes a strike looking. In the zone there, 1 ball and 1 strike with runners at first and second and 2 outs, but it's spring training. So, if you lose in spring training, it's not a big deal. It's all about development, being able to see the hitters and the pitchers. And again, when you have these, jobber pitchers that never will play a game for us in the regular season, if they give up a hit like right there and it turns into an RBI, we're 2-3-1. Of course, you would love to win games in spring training, but that's not really what it's about. It's about seeing how the OGs play with the young guys, with the farm guys. And obviously pitching is always going to be the weakness for every team in spring training because starters usually only go 2 to 4 innings. And then you have a bunch of guys that normally won't play in the regular season pitching in spring training. So, take it for that, for what it's worth. Big RBI there. Now it's a 7-6 Mariner lead with runners at first and second and 2 outs. And Ortiz, the former Dodger, is going to hit the showers. Francisca is up next, and hopefully we can stop the bleeding and hang on to a victory here. 7-6 lead with runners at first and second and 2 outs. And we will see who they bring in. We pitched Miller, Mendoza, Criswell, Legomina, Wilcox, Lutos, and Ortiz. And really the only name that might be familiar is Legomina, and he wasn't very good for us last year. So again, a lot of these guys that are pitching after Bryce Miller, they're not even going to be, really playing for us during the regular season. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. Of course, I would love for the Mariners to win, every game or most of the games in spring training, but just because you have a great spring training record, doesn't mean that you're going to be great during the regular season. So top of the 8th inning, 7-6 Mariner lead with runners at first and second and 2 outs. We started off with a bang with a double by Cal Raleigh in the first inning, a double by Julio, and a double by Randy, making it 2-0 early. And again, we started off with a bang, let some of these other kind of jobber pitchers come in, which is normal for spring training, and obviously have given up the big lead. A couple big home runs, couple big RBIs by the Guardians with a lot of their backup players as well. And hopefully we'll be able to get this final out and hang on to a victory. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. First pitch up and in, 1-0 count. Perez, the new pitcher here for the Mariners. And Francisca in the box. Come on, Ems. First pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Perez to Francisco. Pitch in there for a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike from Perez to Francisco. Two-one pitch in there for a strike to Francisca. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Perez to Francisca. Top of the 8th, runners at first and second with 2 outs. And a big strike 3 there. And we shut it down. There we go. All right, my pup is hungry for some lunch, so I'm going to go grab some lunch for her. And we leave 2 stranded for the Guardians, and we hang on with a 7-6 lead. Let me go get her a little bit of lunch here, and I'll be right back for the bottom of the 8th inning. All right, finally got back. All right, Daddy, we'll go pretty soon, okay? Lay down, take it out. All right, Tommy Mace in there for the Guardians. And Blake Rambush ends up taking a ball inside, 1-0 count. 7-6 Mariner lead here in the bottom of the 8th. One-0 pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes from Mace to Rambush. And again, once you get into the last few innings of a spring training game, a lot of the names are unrecognizable and whatnot. But again, you just have to be able to do your best with some of these guys that are trying to make an opportunity to showcase their skill set. Slow dribbler, throw to first, and Rambush is out, 1 away. My pup is in here now. She said, man, you've been working for a few hours here. I'm ready. She's ready for the afternoon walk, but I want an afternoon victory walk. Bottom of the 8th now with 1 out. Mace on the mound, next down. For the Mariners is Rodden. First pitch to Rodden, fly ball, deep to right field, back, gone! Let's go! Big home run for the Mariners, solo shot by Rodden, and that's going to make it an 8-6 lead. Let's go! Huge home run there late. First pitch, crushed it into right field. Beautiful. And hopefully the people at ESPN will get out of the bathroom and update the scoreboard. You know, again, you normally can rely on ESPN for a majority of the game, but there's always going to be a point where they're a little bit behind, whether they're doing an update or they go to the restroom or get a snack or whatever they decide to do. But it's at the bottom of the 8th, and now it's an 8-6 lead for Seattle. Next up was Swiss Bell, and hopefully we'll be able to get something here with him. Louise already had a double in his first at-bat from the farm system, the Everett Aqua Sox. And, we'll see how long it takes for ESPN to update everything. We're in the bottom of the 8th, not the top of the 8th, as the scoreboard shows. We just homered momentarily, and now we got an 8-6 lead. Mace on the mound for the Guardians, Swiss Bell for the Mariners. And it's always awesome to be able to see no-name players homer or make a big RBI or a big strikeout, because you just don't really know what to expect with a lot of these guys. Big swing and a miss, and down goes Swissbell. That is 2 away. Next up for Mace and the Guardians will be Caron for the Mariners. Josh Caron up next. And I've been refreshing everything scoreboard-wise, but apparently someone went to go take a break. Caron, the new catcher, in. First pitch, high and inside, but called strike, 0-1 count. 8-6 Mariner lead, not 7-6. We're just waiting for ESPN to do their job. And again, a lot of unrecognizable names, usually in the last 2 innings of a spring training game, but that's kind of, what it is. Low and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike from Mace to Caron. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss with that slider, 81 miles an hour by Mace. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Mace to Caron. Come on, ESPN, update the fucking scoreboard. One-two pitch, big swing and a miss by Caron, and that is it. Down go the Mariners, but not after a home run. Paisley Pup, she decides, hey, I'll come back in a few minutes after this game is over. And let's go to the top of the 9th inning. 8-6 Mariner lead. And hopefully after the commercial break, it'll be updated. Come on, ESPN. Do your job. Let's go, baby. 8-6 lead, not 7-6. Late homer by the Mariners, by one of the no-name players, late in the game, and we'll take it. And I've been refreshing nonstop, but, I guess that's ESPN for you. The fall off is real. We're in the top of the 9th, not the top of the 8th. And we've been waiting now 5+ minutes for the scoreboard to update, which is supposed to be 8-6 Mariners, not 7-6. And hopefully we'll be able to get 3 quick outs and win this game 8-6. And again, tomorrow's game is not televised. So again, we might do the Thunder and the Nuggets if SGA comes back from his injury. If not, maybe we take the day off. Saturday will be WWE Elimination Chamber at 4 p.m. Pacific here on the channel. And then Sunday, moving forward after that, we'll try to do as many televised spring training games. And then when we get into March 6th and beyond, we'll have 2 weeks of the World Baseball Classic. We'll do a little Team USA, maybe with the Dominican Republic as well, since Julio will be on that team and representing. And then obviously the first game of the regular season for the Mariners and the Guardians will be 1 month from today at T-Mobile. And I can't wait for that. Now we got Domingo Gonzalez coming in here in the top of the 9th. Minor league career 3-1 with an ERA of 4.47. And I've been refreshing scoreboard here for 10 minutes and it still hasn't updated. So you can thank ESPN for that. But it is 8-6 Mariners and we're in the top of the 9th, not in the top of the 8th. Come on, ESPN, do your job. First pitch, fouled back with the slider, 84 miles an hour by Gonzalez to Halpin, 0-1 count. And this is a global broadcast on the MLB app. So if you have that, you can actually open that up and it will be free to watch along. 0-1 pitch from Gonzalez, high and away. Splitter, 87 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gonzalez to Halpin. And again, we've had a few, tough breaks, in the last few games. And, getting a victory would be definitely great here for the first spring training game on the channel. Pitch is inside. 2 balls and 1 strike from Gonzalez to Halpin. 2-1 pitch from Gonzalez. In there for a strike looking. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Gonzalez to Halpin. It's the top of the 9th inning, not the top of the 8th. And the score is 8-6 Mariners, not 7-6, because the people at ESPN don't know how to do their jobs. And, we didn't have too many problems during the regular season, a couple times, in a few of the games, but, hopefully they'll be better. It can't be like this during the regular season. 2-2 pitch, Halpin, and a nice base knock into center field, and a single there for the Guardians here in the top of the 9th. Top of the 9th, 8-6 Mariner lead. And things have still continued to be frozen on ESPN's and on the top of the 8th. Do your job. Gonzalez on the mound for the Mariners. Next up is Rosario for the Guardians. First pitch. Pitch is inside. Four-seam fastball. Missing by a few inches, 1-0 count. Pitch is low and inside. 2 balls and no strikes from Gonzalez to Rosario. Come on, Gonzalez. Don't fuck this up. .2-0 pitch. Low and away. Come on, Gonzalez. 3 balls and no strikes. With a runner at first and no outs. We're up by 2 runs. Let's go. Let's finish this on a good note. .3-0 pitch. Inside. And that's going to be ball 4. Now we got runners at first and second with no outs. Come on. And I've been refreshing nonstop, but apparently ESPN thinks spring training games end in the top of the 8th, and they decide to walk away from their desk. Update the scoreboard. 8-6 Mariner lead in the top of the 9th with runners at first and second and no outs. Gonzalez on the mound for the Mariners, looking like a jobber. Huff in the box for the Guardians. First pitch, high and away, 1-0 count. But again, once you get to these guys, in the last 2 to 3 innings, most of these individuals won't even be on the team, once we go 1 month, from now into the regular season. But, regardless, you want to be able to finish strong and win games, not blow games at the end. And Huff crushes that one towards left field, foul. 1 ball and 1 strike with runners at first and second and no outs. 8-6 Mariner lead. And we'll see if ESPN will do their job before this game ends. It's been stuck on the top of the 8th, and we're in the top of the 9th already. 1-1 pitch. Missing outside. 2 balls and 1 strike with runners at first and second and no outs. .86 Mariner lead, not 7-6 like the scoreboard above. 2-1 pitch, hits the corner, and we get a strike call there. 2 balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and no outs. It would be really nice to be able to get a double play here. And I've refreshed the page maybe 40 times and 2-2 pitch and big swing and a miss, and that is out number 1. There we go. Finally, the first out there for Gonzalez for the Mariners. We're in the top of the 9th, not top of the 8th. Runners at first and second with 1 out. Scoreboard above is wrong. First pitch in there for a strike by Gonzalez to Velasquez. 0-1 count. Yeah, scoreboard is not updated, so it's not 2 outs. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gonzalez to Velasquez. ESPN decided to walk away from their desk, and it's been stuck on the top of the 8th on the scoreboard above, but we are in the top of the 9th with an 8-6 Mariner lead, not 7-6, with runners at first and second with one out. 1-2 count from Gonzalez for the Mariners and Velasquez for the Guardians in the box. And I've seen them be, a couple minutes behind, but not 10 or 15 minutes behind. This is ridiculous. 1-2 pitch from Gonzalez. Pitch is inside. Wild pitch, gets away from the catcher, and runner advances to second and third. Come on, Mariners, finish strong. I don't know what's worse here, the pitching by the Mariners in the 9th inning by this jobber, or ESPN not updating the fucking scoreboard. It's not that hard. 8-6 Mariner lead in the top of the 9th with runners at second and third with one out. Scoreboard above is wrong. And a hard hit ball off the glove, throw to first, and not in time. Wild pitch, runner scores. Jesus. And now it's 8-7 with a runner at third. Cleveland threatening. And obviously, Cal Raleigh is no longer in at catcher. Otherwise, things might be a little bit different here. Come on, ESPN. Do your job. This is probably the longest I've seen them not update the scoreboard, maybe ever. It's 8-7 Mariners. Scoreboard is wrong. Runners at first and third with one out. Gonzalez on the mound for the Mariners. Watson in the box for the Guardians. 8-7 Mariner lead with a runner at third and first on the corners with one out. We need a double play to win this game. 8-7. First pitch outside with a slider by Gonzalez missing. 1-0 count. .22 hits in this game. Mariners got 12 of them. 8-7 Mariner lead. Scoreboard above is wrong. Pitch is inside. 2 balls and no strikes from Gonzalez to Watson. Come on, Gonzalez, you fucking bum. I don't care if this is spring training. Finish strong. .20 pitch. Crushes it towards left field and out of play. Foul. Top of the 9th inning, 8-7 Mariner lead. Runners at first and third with one out. Scoreboard above is wrong. Apparently, ESPN employees can take breaks even during the game and not come back to their station and update the scoreboard. We'll see if we even get an update before the game ends. 2-1 pitch. Pitch is inside by Gonzalez. 3 balls and 1 strike with runners at first and third and one out here in the top of the 9th. Come on, Ems. I think I've refreshed this page like 50 times, but 3-1 pitch, hard hit ball, double play. Got him! And that is the final, baby. Final score with that double play by the Mariners. Seattle Mariners 8, Cleveland Guardians 7. And I can't believe ESPN didn't even update the scoreboard. It's been like 15 minutes, and it better not be like this during the regular season. We need to make sure that they do their job. But congratulations to the Mariners. Tridents up with the big victory. There we go. Nice job. Final score, Mariners 8. Guardians 7. We'll take that, baby. And again, we'll see if SGA is healthy, against the Nuggets tomorrow. If that's the case, we'll end up doing that tomorrow. And then WWE Elimination Chamber at 4 p.m. Pacific on Saturday. And then Sunday, moving forward, we'll be doing more spring training baseball on the games that are available on broadcast, as well as the World Baseball Classic. And we are 1 month away from the season opener between these two teams, the Guardians and the Mariners. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast, and hit that like button on your way out. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Final score, Mariners 8, Guardians 7, and I am out. Tridents up, and let's go M's. Shout out to Reflect and Scott. I love you, and I appreciate you. Let's get it. TJ, gang.